stopping us past the first 38th Street exit of 38th Guyan Road. Delay hasn't quite reached Lafayette Road yet, but it is expanding. Looking at inbound 70, that slows Rural Street through the split out to Meridian Penn. Crash serious, Record Road near Binford Boulevard. That's a crash with a rolled vehicle. Somebody was trapped inside. And a crash, Whitestown Parkway in the Boone. This is Whitestown Parkway east of County Road 475 East. Traffic sponsored by Indeed.com. Make the hiring process work for you with Indeed's end-to-end hiring solution. You can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Start at Indeed.com/credit. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the fives. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back. Stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right. Enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit DiamondsDirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Call 800-631-9123. 800-631-9123. That's 800-631-9123.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine here, nice temperatures, low humidity. Today's high 79. Tonight, mostly clear, quiet, and comfortably cool. A low down to 53. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
49 and sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, good morning. It is Monday, September 9th. It's 7 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. It is debate week. And we're going to get you all caught up and prepared. Everything debate in just a bit. Allegedly, Kamala Harris is running scared. She was practicing her stand-up over the weekend, and we'll get to that in just a bit. But first,
Wait.
What?
You're going to bury the lead? How long have you been in this business for?
Which lead are you talking about? I was getting ready to say that somebody else has been practicing stand-up, apparently, because they've been joking.
No. How long have you been doing radio for?
30 years.
You started when you were 7. Congratulations.
It's true.
I cannot
I'm
believe
exhausted.
you've been in radio since you were 7 years old and you started when you were 30 and you are burying the lead. That is, to the dismay of internet trolls and the people at the State House, WIBC was number 1 in the most recent ratings book.
That's true. That did happen over the weekend, didn't it?
No, like, when I say number 1, I'm not just talking about our show, which we've been number 1 for a while now. I'm talking about the whole radio station.
Right.
WIBC, the number 1 radio station in all of Central Indiana. And when we talk about this, like, go look at a ratings book for New York or Chicago or Los Angeles. Pick your favorite major metropolitan city. They might be number 6, 7, 8. WIBC is consistently one of the 3 or 4 highest rated radio stations in the city of Indianapolis, which is unheard of for talk radio stations. And once again, we are number 1, Casey. We are back. It took us a while to get back there, but we are back to being number 1.
We're back, baby!
And that is a testament to our fabulous, engaged audience who is simply sick and tired of the politicians' bullcrap, and they say, we want to know how to make a difference. Number 1, all the credit goes to our audience, but I was not going to come out of the chute and not let anonymous internet trolls and all those Mensa members down the street from us, let them know, na we're number 1.
I did look a little bit, and, you know, we were not number 1 for CUME, which is people that come through the door, which tells me we were number 1 for TSL, time spent listening. So people come in the door and they stay.
That's right. Yeah, not
and
even
we
close.
We love you for that.
And by the way, just just as we said that, somebody cut off my camera real quick. Now it's back. So yeah, we see you. We see you, people, the voodoo workers in the camera. But that's not going to stop us. That's not going to stop us. We're back, and I'm back. And anyway, now Joe Hogsett. What is going on with Joe Hogsett?
Well, he was putting on his own show. His own comedic stylings. I see he's over your shoulder. If you'd like to see him over Rob's shoulder, just typing Kendall and Casey into the YouTube search bar.
I did not do this, by the way. I'd like to point out I did not put
him
this
over
here.
your shoulder?
I did not put this sign up, nor did I put this here. It was you and it was Carl that did this.
I thought it was a nice touch for today's lead story.
It's for those of you who are not on the YouTube feed. It's a picture of Joe Hogsett looking confused. And it says in big letters, "I'll drink to that." It's a giant poster-like looking thing, so you can see that right now on the YouTube feed. So Hogsett, most people probably know by now, he's been canceling a whole bunch of events, like unexpectedly, last minute. Very odd that the mayor wouldn't be showing up to regularly scheduled events, but he shows up to something or other. And the guy from Fox 59, Max Lewis, I think is the guy's name, who got this. That guy should win what is it in TV? It's not a Marconi. What is it? What do they give in TV?
An Emmy?
You're looking at me. You're saying that with the question like you were in television.
An Emmy.
An Emmy.
And actually, I worked with Max Lewis in South Bend.
Oh, so you know him.
Well, ish, yeah.
Okay, so he got the video of this. And I think the question everybody has to ask themselves is, what's wrong with Joe Hogsett?
Oh, I think we know.
Well,
I think it's pretty evident.
Look, shall we play the audio and then we'll discuss a little bit about what we heard there, shall we? Okay.
Yep.
I want you all, look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
Sounds like me at the end of several relationships. I'm not on the ballot, but I'm running from something.
Yeah, we know what he's running from. So the City County Council is investigating his handling of sexual harassment allegations. City employee was fired. There are also 6 ongoing probes into other claims he's running from: investigations, allegations, and accusations.
So they tried to say, Hogsett's people tried to say, oh, he was making a joke. Okay, well, sound mind and body, then he should just resign immediately if he thinks that's funny. The things that he's currently putting the city through, the things those women were put through by enabling and covering up for that just complete loser Thomas Carl Cook. If he thinks that's funny and that's worth cracking a joke over, that in my mind would be even worse than if he were inebriated in some capacity. But let's listen to it again. I mean, does this sound like? I mean, I have sounded better than this at 3 a.m. in Broad Ripple than this guy sounds right here.
I want you all, look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
We should have pulled the audio, but remember in Black Sheep, which is the Chris Farley movie, where he is the brother of Tim Matheson, who's running for governor of Washington, and Farley consumes, it was that, I don't know what it was, some sort of substance that he was not supposed to be consuming, and he ends up on stage at a Get Out the Vote rally, and he just starts like screaming inaudibly on television. That is exactly what he sounded like there. That is exactly what he sounded like, and there's something very, very wrong with the mayor of the city of Indianapolis.
Well, I think we all know what the condition was, and the thing is, I can't say the word. I'm mad about this. I live in Indianapolis.
Yeah, you're a taxpayer.
And you know what? Especially when I play gunshot or firework off my balcony, when I drive on any street in the city. The deputy mayor, one of them, needs to step up. Where's Dan Parker? Where's Lena Hill? I mean, she had to fill in for him at some ribbon cutting on Friday.
So the question is, if the mayor was look, everybody knows the well-placed allegations against Joe Hogsett, right? About his personal life being in complete shambles on a variety of fronts, alleged instances where he is not capable of taking care of himself as it relates to various substances. And if you if indeed the mayor, I mean, again, there's like two options here. Either he's cracking jokes and thinking it's funny that he's put a stain on this city and that it's chuckles and games that he's running from his best pal, amigo, former chief of staff / campaign manager, allegedly doing very serious things to women. He thinks that's funny, or he was messed up. Like, I mean, I don't see how it could be anything other than those two things, because when he talks about I'm running from something, and their response is he was making a joke, well, that's what you're running from. So that's your excuse. Okay, so here's how ridiculous this is for the people who are going to try to say that sounds normal. Here is Randy Marsh from South Park. So Randy Marsh is one of the kids' dads on South Park, and there's an episode where they're going to these little league games, and he keeps challenging like parents to fights in the stands, and he keeps getting arrested, and he keeps saying in an inebriated, messed up sort of tone, "I'm sorry, I thought this was America." Kev, go ahead, please.
Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
All right, now let's play them back to back, and you tell me that Joe Hogsett is not. Let's do Hogsett first, and then we'll play Randy Marsh. You tell me Joe Hogsett has not turned into Randy Marsh from South Park.
I want you all. Look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
Get registered to vote at this election in November. Oh, you know the thing.
Right.
All right, so that's Joe Hogsett. Now here's Randy Marsh.
Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Now, if you see the video, he looks like he's swaying a little bit.
He was swaying.
And the one thing that he should be running from is a liquor store.
All right, we got to take a break.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
We assume that you have one of those kind of soaking tubs.
Oh, you're talking about like up at the Coco Motel. The Kokomo there.
The Coco Motel?
Yep.
Please tell me there's a real place called the Coco Motel.
There is, yeah. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it used to be.
How was I not notified?
How have you not stayed there?
The Coco Motel?
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder how we're still on the air?
No.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Perhaps you're worried about settling for less money with a low ball instant offer. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Sarah in Fountain Square had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After investing in a property in Fountain Square, I ran into some financial trouble and needed to sell the place fast. After hearing about Mark Dietel from friends, I hired him. Mark was able to sell my property within weeks over list price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, DIETEL.com. markdietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection, sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating, and that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Family owned and operated Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to help bring you live coverage of the presidential debate as title sponsor of Debate Night with WIBC. Garage Doors of Indianapolis embraces conservative values and agrees with Thomas Jefferson that an educated citizenry is vital for the survival of a free people. When you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
It's JMV. Save 30% off herbaceous perennials, 50% off pottery, and 20% off patio furniture this week at Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
Truck drivers, it's time to drive for a company that values your time. At Midwest Logistics Systems, you'll get home every day and have a predictable Monday through Friday schedule with occasional Saturdays. Plus, you'll enjoy the convenience of driving out and back routes and hauling no-touch, mostly drop-and-hook freight. MLS drivers also earn performance and safety bonuses and have access to a comprehensive benefits package. Explore our selection of local, dedicated driving jobs and apply today at MidwestLogisticsSystems.com.
So Joe Hogsett wasn't the only one practicing his comedic stylings. Your vice president was doing the same. She was at a spice store in Pittsburgh over the weekend, this ahead of her debate with Donald Trump. Which
she was where?
She was at a spice store.
Like buying spices?
An entire store devoted to spices.
Like what, paprika?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like those type of spices?
Yeah.
Not like the drug.
No, like cinnamon. And, yeah, cumin.
It's kind of an odd.
Pepper.
It's kind of an odd. I mean, obviously, all those things are highly choreographed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an odd place for a campaign stop, isn't it?
Well, she was in town, right? So she had to find some place to go.
Huh.
Someone was crying and hugging her and like, oh, you're going to save us.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not. But Kamala Harris.
Have you ever cried at the sight of apology? I mean, you may have cried at the sight of a politician. Have you ever cried tears of, let me rephrase. Have you ever cried tears of joy at the sight of a politician?
No. What I saw from Joe Hogsett over the weekend nearly made me tear up, though,
right.
Because that was just absolutely ridiculous.
I love how angry you are about this.
Well, I live in Indianapolis, and this is the guy who is taking this city right into the toilet.
Yeah.
It makes me mad.
By the way, is anybody ever going to figure out where Hogsett was during the riots? I mean, I think that's given what, even if he disappeared. You know, Hogsett disappeared during the riots. Everybody knows that. That's without debate, without discussion. He was not in charge of the city of Indianapolis. There's not a shred of evidence he was in any control of anything. They've never produced a shred of evidence. He was text messages, phone calls, nothing. In fact, remember during the debate, I think it was our friend, the most beautiful man in Indianapolis media, Phil Sanchez, asked him about it. He lied out his ass and then tried to say that some report it's all in the report. And then the lady who did the report was like, no, we don't know where he was during the riot. So the mayor of the city disappeared during arguably the most significant event in the history of the city. And for 4 years, no one in the media has pinned him down. How is that possible?
Yeah.
That no one has
They just let him go.
Now will somebody pin him down now that you saw this happen publicly over the weekend? Now, is there some validity to what we've been saying on this radio station? Because let's face it, we're the only people who've been saying it out loud. Us and Hammer and Nigel and Ethan and Tony. I mean, we're the only people. Well, Tony really hasn't. Us and Ethan and Hammer and Nigel. I mean, Tony was bragging today about how he hasn't ever said it out loud, so we'll not knock him off the list. So us and Ethan and Hammer and Nigel. I mean, has anybody now? Do we get some validity based on what you saw in public over the weekend that maybe Joe Hogsett wasn't of sound mind and body when he wasn't there?
Maybe. I don't know. Multiple scandals, MIA during the riots, media covered for him. Where's the Democrat Party on this? They don't care. He knew what Thomas Carl Cook was, 2017, said he did his own investigation because for his own lust for power, brought him back to ensure that he remained in office.
And by the way, let's give credit where credit's due. The only guy who appears to be actually trying to hold Hogsett accountable is the socialist guy, Jesse Brown.
Right. And he posted that thing, IC 3417. Any person holding any office under the Constitution or laws of this state who shall voluntarily become intoxicated within the business hours of the office or is in the habit of becoming intoxicated by the use of intoxicating liquors shall be removed from office. Where are the Democrats on this? Where is Dan Parker? Where is Lena Hill? Are you guys okay with this? This is your boss.
Yeah, but where are the Republicans? I mean, you've had the Hammer and Nigel had that Maori guy on multiple times on their show, and he's just like, well, we'll wait for the finding of the facts from the investigation. What do you mean you'll wait? Isn't the past 8 years enough finding of fact? Isn't what you see with your own eye? The only person, Democrat or Republican, who is publicly holding Joe Hogsett accountable in the city government is the socialist guy, Jesse Brown. So kudos to him. He may be insane on a whole bunch of stuff, but at least he gives a damn about holding the elected officials accountable. The Republicans aren't doing anything, all 5 or 6 or whatever there are of them. The Democrats aren't doing anything. This crazy socialist guy, kudos to him. He's the only one actually demanding accountability. Now, back to Kamala at the spice rack or the spice shop. How does a spice... Are there enough people buying spices
for a whole store
to stay in business?
For a whole brick and mortar?
Yeah,
I was thinking that as well. She said that she looks forward to using her new seasonings at their next Sunday family dinner. Because, you know, Kamala Harris, she's just like us.
She's doing a lot of cooking.
She's making the family dinner. She was talking about Starbucks, and one of her big accomplishments during her time in office was getting Starbucks to change the color of their cup lids because her lipstick smears. Here it is. We've got 2 versions of this. One is the dry version, and the other is the comedic touch on it.
We talked about those lids. So here's what I said to her. So you know how those lids are, because this is, well, I'm just going to, so you know how those lids on the Starbucks cups, they're white, right? And so if you wear lipstick, they get all over the lid. And so then I find myself in meetings if I'm the only woman, and that's kind of, and so I keep taking the lid off and having my cup out so that I don't have that big lipstick mark on the lid. So I said, can we do something about the color of the lid?
Well, thank goodness she had that problem
laugh. Can we
solved.
just, Kev, can we isolate the last, 10 seconds of that? Just the laugh. I mean, we can't bury the lead. That insufferable laugh. And it just keeps going. I mean,
and she's clapping at herself.
Let's time that. Let's do that. Let's time it for when she finally comes up for air from Kev. Can we go maybe just a little? I want to get it right when she starts laughing, and then we'll time it to when she starts coming up for air. Are we ready?
Something about the color of the lid.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007. 7 seconds.
She thought it was pretty funny. Okay. Well, before we get into news, here's another version of it.
So you know how those lids are, because this is, well, I'm just going to speak, okay? So this is it. So you know how those lids on the Starbucks cups, they're white, right? And so if you wear lipstick, they get all over the lid. And so then I find myself in meetings if I'm the only woman, and that's kind of, and so I keep taking the lid off and having my cup out so that I don't have that big lipstick mark on the lid. So I said, can we do something about the color of the lid?
Little Bailey's in her coffee this morning.
conversation.
All right, Kurt Darling from the news. He'll be joining us next. But quick, rapid fire question. Are you ready for this, Kurt?
Hit me.
Just whatever your instinct is. You are recently married, right?
Yes.
If you had ever heard your wife, when you were dating, laugh the way Kamala Harris laughs, would you have still married her?
Kurt Darling's next with the news. It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Going head to head, it's 55 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris are set for their first debate, which could possibly be their only debate tomorrow night in Philadelphia. The 90-minute debate will be marking the first time that the Republican and Democratic nominees will be meeting in person. Joint military exercises between Russia and China. Fox's Jonathan Savage.
China will host Russian naval and air forces for a joint exercise in the seas of Japan and Okhotsk. Beijing's official news agency reports the purpose is to improve the two countries' strategic coordination and make them better at responding jointly to threats. Presidents Putin and Xi Jinping are trying to provide what they see as a counterweight to American dominance of global affairs. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Big Lots is filing for bankruptcy. The discount home furniture chain says operations will continue as the company transitions to new ownership. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Some big gains to start the week. The Dow was up 250 to 40,595. The Nasdaq up 160 to 16,851. And the S&P 500 is up 43 to 5,453. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The hot summer and the hot deals are coming, and Tom Roush Lincoln is back. Get 0% APR for 60 months on every new 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Plus, get an additional $4,000 off MSRP. You can also take $3,000 off every new 2024 Lincoln Corsair, 70 available. So get in here for one of those hot summer deals at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
For well-qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24401. MSRP 107,425. Stock number L24284. MSRP is 43,435. See dealer for complete details.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Something that happened over the weekend is former Vice President Dick Cheney released a statement announcing his endorsement of Kamala Harris.
Okay.
He said that Trump can never be trusted with power again.
Okay, so if you had to choose, whose endorsement would you want less? Gaddafi or Dick Cheney? Like I said, you have to choose one. Whose do you not want?
I don't want either of their endorsement, but I would still say Gaddafi, I think.
Would you? Are you sure? You had to think about it.
I did.
But I mean, this is the hypocrisy. First of all, it's the hypocrisy of these people, period, which is the Dick Cheney, George W. Bush years were a colossal disaster for this country that we have never, ever recovered from. And I'm not just talking about their complete ineptitude in terms of these terrorist hijackers being in the country and them doing nothing about it, just like Bill Clinton did before them, and essentially allowing 9/11 to happen. I'm talking about the response in the post 9/11 world, the spending, the ill-begotten foreign wars, tens of thousands of people dead or maimed needlessly and for what? Zero reason. They didn't even kill bin Laden. Afghanistan was a complete disaster when they left. Look at the condition of the economy and the bailouts and the spending, and then obviously Obama just took it and made it worse. But the audacity of these people, the audacity and the arrogance and hubris of these people to act as though they are some morally superior group of humans, and to act as they killed more people in a week than Donald Trump did in his entire presidency. And for these people to act like they have some high ground on anything is disgusting.
Well, it's coming from a man who led us into wars, lost countless lives, spent trillions of dollars. He's now backing a candidate. He probably doesn't even believe in her policies. It's just such a huge animosity towards Donald Trump. And Dick Cheney, was he trying to stay relevant? Oh, wait, listen to what I have to say. Who cares?
Well, you raise an interesting point, which part of an endorsement is have something, a group of people that go with them or we believe will go with them. That's why, obviously, like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., there's clearly a group of people who are going to vote for him, and Trump and Kennedy believe those people would follow his endorsement. Could be right, could be wrong, but the public perception is, and I think some of the polling is bearing this out a little bit, that Kennedy is helping Trump with voters. Same thing with Tulsi Gabbard. Are there 50 million people out there that are going to vote the way Tulsi Gabbard does? No, but does she raise a lot of interesting points and maybe sway people on the fence? Yes. Who, Casey, is going, well...
Dick Cheney said so. What bizarro world are we living in, by the way, where a Kennedy is endorsing a Republican and a Cheney is endorsing a Democrat? Well, here's Tucker Carlson. He had some comments on the endorsement.
Maybe you haven't checked your phone today to see that Dick Cheney and his horrible daughter have endorsed Kamala Harris. Dick Cheney. Now, why is that? What does Dick Cheney have in common with Kamala Harris? And it's really interesting, actually, because they're constantly telling us that the divides are along race and gender. And they were always telling us Dick Cheney is this rich white guy, and Kamala Harris is this oppressed woman of color. They've got nothing in common. But actually, they have everything in common. Because they're both neocons. That's exactly right. They have everything in common. And it tells you what a lie this race and gender stuff is. That's not the divide. The divide is in your heart. And if you think it's okay to kill people in order to get rich, you're on their side. And if you don't, you're on our side, no matter what you look like.
So pretty much what he's saying is that this is the establishment going full behind Kamala, and Trump is the obstacle.
Yeah, well, I told you I would have picked Tucker Carlson. If I were Trump, I would have picked Tucker Carlson to be vice president, because the number one thing they would fear more than Trump is Tucker. So in terms of life safety, from a life safety perspective, but he's right. Yeah, he's totally right. Biden and Kamala are joined at the hip. They're both war hawks. The Cheneys, the Bushes, the Mitch McConnell people. I mean, all of these people who support this endless money going to the Ukraine. I mean, it is about protecting the status quo. It is about protecting the old guard. It is about protecting the people who prop those people up, and there is no difference between, in terms of the power structure of the party, there is no difference between these two parties.
Okay, now you mentioned Bush, and he has made a decision on the presidential race, and it's a non-decision.
Oh.
A spokesperson said that he retired from presidential politics many years ago, and neither he nor his wife Laura would reveal who they're voting for in November.
Now, Laura Bush has also killed more people than Donald Trump. Let's point that out there as well, because, of course, she killed somebody. And the hypocrisy of these people, again, like, they profess to care about the country. They profess to be these, holy, mightier than thou people, these holy rollers, and yet they look at this woman who is a complete, first of all, she's an idiot, and they know it. I mean, look at that clip we played about the Starbucks, right? I mean, she does that on a daily basis. You look at her policies, they're a disaster. You look at, like we said, the Bushes profess to be these pro-life people, and yet they won't come out and campaign against an abortion factory woman. Come on, get lost. And again, nobody cares anyway. It's not going to make any difference in the outcome of the election. But these people show you, Mike Pence, who lied, right? I will endorse whoever the Republican nominee for president is. Doesn't do it. The Cheneys, the Bushes, they're all joined in the same hip, right? And that's one of the great things about Trump he has done, is he has exposed these people for exactly who they are.
Okay, so we've got the big debate tomorrow night, and of course we've got the WIBC Debate Night Live, which will be fun.
We got to go to that?
We do have to go to that. You're going to go, you're going to say stuff, you're going to talk and be amazing.
Okay, so I guess we're doing some sort of something before the debate, like we're going to get up and say a few words, and they have not been clear on the instructions. But they said John Herrick will moderate.
Yeah, John Herrick's going to be the MC.
The news director at WIBC.
Award-winning.
They're won many, many awards. And I think we should see how uncomfortable we could actually make John Herrick.
Is that our goal?
Right. I think that's what we should do.
Make John Herrick uncomfortable. That would be entertaining for everyone.
Let's try to get John Herrick during our 5 minutes to take as many radical political positions as humanly possible.
I'm looking at him to see if he's listening.
Oh no, he's working. He never listens to our show.
Working.
He's doing his job as a news director, and he's producing the news. But I think that's what we should do tomorrow. We should try to get John Herrick to take as many concrete political positions as possible during our 5 minutes.
Okay, so Pete Buttigieg was making his rounds on behalf of Kamala Harris, and he was asked, what does she need to do to win this debate? And here's what he had to say.
Well, I think the main task will be to make sure Americans understand the difference in visions and are reminded that they already agree with her on the issues that matter most to them. But that's going to be challenging. I competed with her for the Democratic nomination, and I had the honor of being involved in her debate preparations against Mike Pence. She is a very focused and disciplined leader, but it will take almost superhuman focus and discipline to deal with Donald Trump in a debate. It's no ordinary proposition. Not because Donald Trump is a master of explaining policy ideas and how they're going to make people better off. It's because he's a master of taking any form or format that is on television and turning it into a show that is all about him.
Did you know that you agree with Kamala Harris's ideas? I mean, Pete Buttigieg just said you did.
Well, again, and this is where the onus is going to be on Trump as the candidate to have his you-know-what together and be a responsible adult, which is there's no defense of the past 4 years. She is hooked up with Biden. She can't unhook herself from Biden. People know that. And she's a moron. So let her talk. That's the thing. Trump did a great job in that first debate. I mean, I get that the mics were cut off, but body language is a part of it too. Great with the facial expressions. You know, he wasn't looking agitated. Just let her talk. She's going to try to goad you on the criminal convictions or saying you raped people or January 6th. I mean, you know it's going to happen. Don't take the bait. This is interesting. Micah was actually talking about this at church yesterday about defending yourself and how people always need to feel the need to defend themselves instead of just kind of letting, God take care of it. And I think Trump could have used that sermon yesterday because I think Trump feels like he's always got to respond to everything that's said. People already know. You already have an opinion on this stuff one way or another. You're not winning or losing anyone based on defending yourself. I mean, you're not winning anyone based on trying to defend yourself. But when you do defend yourself on that, you give credibility to it, and you take away from time talking about the border and the economy and inflation and the disastrous foreign policy. Every answer should be one of those four things, and just move it in a circle. No matter what the topic is, just stay on one of those four things.
Trump has to have command of his body.
Right.
Is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about some football next. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
All right. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz Day, the polling data shows us what we already knew. Kamala Harris has an uphill battle ahead of her. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
So what's in the bag today? Yesterday's leftovers? Another lunch meat sandwich? Well, go ahead, pull up a rock and settle in for a half hour of I wish I was eating something else. Or you could be eating something else or someplace else. If you're brown bagging it at the corner of 30th and Shadeland area, drop over to His Place Eatery for 30 minutes of why didn't I know about this place sooner? Nothing fancy, not a lot of frills. They save that for the quality of the meal, like ribs that fall off the bone, southern fried chicken, sides that'll cause your taste buds to thank you into tomorrow. And all of it within 30 minutes. Put that in your brown bag and eat it. Better yet, bank the bag. Go to His Place Eatery off the corner of 30th and Shadeland. Your dirty boots and work clothes are welcome here. His Place. Your place for lunch. Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Friday, 11 to 8, Saturday, noon to 8, and Sunday, noon to 6. Go to hisplaceeatery.com to learn more.
Got several different cable news outlets and their sources reporting that home prices are actually expected to decline into 2025. And so right now you want to maximize your home sales price before this downturn with the only agent proven to sell for top dollar. That's Mark Deedle. Mitch from Martinsville's house is getting a little too big for him. He wanted to downsize. Heard about Mark on our radio show. He was able to get multiple offers within 48 hours and closed in 30 days.
And what separates Mark Deedle from the competition is the guarantee. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. That's what makes Mark Deedle the best. Call him today, 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232, or go to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Are you worried about your taxes? Okay, so I'm talking to those of you out there that have not filed in a few years with the IRS or state. It's time to get worried, and here's why. The IRS is getting back from their own COVID lockdown, and they're hiring more enforcers, and they're going to come after people that owe taxes. So if you're a 1099 worker, and maybe you just plain forgot to call the professionals right now at the tax helpline. They are experts at knowing the tax regulations, and their goal is to help you pay as little as possible. Call right now and get a 100% free tax evaluation. Remember, before the IRS knocks on your door, knock on our door. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, make this free call right now.
Call Texas 321 now at 800-808-9443. 800-808-9443. That's 800-808-9443.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Would you like fries with that? Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's talk football. Football's back, baby. However, the Colts failed to win again in their season opener. 11th straight time that's happened.
Yeah, but how about those Bears? From the ashes of defeat. Oh my gosh, that was the worst win ever, but they're still 1-0. But the Colts, yes, it's the same old song and dance.
Yeah.
It's every year with these guys. They cannot win a home opener, and you look at that team, and we were vaunted defense this and improved that, and it was the same old story that they just couldn't make the big stops when they needed to.
Yep.
And hey, at least I think the roof was open.
I was going to ask you. I saw it on Saturday. It looked like they were testing it.
Yeah.
And then Irsay put something out like, we're going to have the roof open.
Oh, yes, the roof,
Very
I believe,
exciting.
was open. Now, here's what I did, Casey.
Yeah.
You may recall a couple weeks ago, I won the contest at the full office staff meeting.
That's right. To go to a Colts game.
Right, on who could, they had, what do they call that? Know Your Coworker Bingo, where you had to get a line of facts, and then you find them, and if you could get them first, and I sprinted through it, because nobody pays attention to their surroundings like me. Steel trap. And you were like, how did he pull that off that fast?
Yeah, you were quick.
I know you don't think I pay attention here, but I'm very quiet and cerebral. I want my competition to underestimate me. And they did send me an email, and they said, would you like tickets to the Colts game this Sunday? And this is probably kind of...
You said it's the opener. No, they're going to lose.
Right. I was kind of snobby. I mean, I said, no, I would like the tickets to the Bears game in a few weeks. And they said, great, we'll put you down for those.
Really?
So
you got the Bears tickets?
Yeah, I could not believe they granted my request to go to the Bears game in a few weeks.
Well, that's the thing. They can only say no.
That's right.
Right?
You got to ask.
You got to ask.
That's really a key in life with people, and I have learned this as I've gotten older. If you don't ask, someone can't say yes to you.
Correct.
And if they say no, you're right where you were anyway. So kind of snobby maybe that I did. It was like, the tickets you're offering me to this game are not necessarily good enough. I'm going to need tickets to this Bears game. But they were granted my request. And that's
good for you.
Why we work for the greatest company in the world.
You're going to make a day of it. That'll be fun.
Oh, my goodness.
Hopefully,
it's going to be wild.
Hopefully your team will win. You want to tell everybody which team you'll be rooting for?
Yeah, it's Bears. Absolutely. Oh, no shame whatsoever.
Yeah. The Colts, what?
I'm not going to do, what I'm not going to do is what Kyle Wells used to do. Everybody will remember Kyle Wells. He was Hammer and Nigel's producer. He is a gigantic Tennessee Titans fan. And he would win these tickets when Mr. Smolian owned the company. And they had a booth. Like, I don't think our seats are in a box or anything.
No.
But he would win these like premium tickets, and he would show up wearing a Tennessee Titans jersey. And we always used to tell him, you blankety blank blank, you're representing our company.
Yeah.
What if Mr. Smolian brings some Colts executive in there or down where you are, and you, the station employee, are in a Titans, like, have some freaking common sense, child. So I won't be doing that. Like, I'm not going to be rocking a Bears whatever. But I won't be disappointed if the Bears win the game. I'm not going to lie to our audience and be like, gee, I hope the Colts have a strong performance.
So you won't be wearing a jersey with another man's name on your back?
No, I will not be doing that. And I won't be wearing anything Bears because I'm going to respect the company that's like giving us the tickets. We run the Colts games. I do because I'm invested as a taxpayer by force. Need the Colts, want the Colts to do well to try to get some sort of return on my forced investment. But I'm not going to lie to people and be like, yeah, I really hope my favorite team since the day I was born, I hope they lose.
Well, they struggled against the run. They gave up a lot of yards. They needed to stop at the end of the game, and they didn't get that. They couldn't get that.
It didn't go well.
No.
It did not go well.
You know, who else needed a stop at the end of their game, and it didn't happen for them either? Notre Dame.
So Casey and I went to a big Trump boat parade on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we went and introduced, you introduced Victoria Sparks.
Yeah.
I made some comments about...
We'll talk about that later.
We're going to talk about that later. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
But the point is, I was very cognizant of the time, and I told you guys, because I knew you guys were going to be... You're the world's biggest Notre Dame fans. I said, okay, we'll be out of here by such time so you can go home and watch the game. And then I felt so bad because they didn't win the game. They lost to a team that doesn't even... They paid him
$1.4 million to come and beat them.
Yeah, so like with me, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I expect they're going to be terrible every year. And then when they inevitably are terrible, and did I not call it?
You totally called it. It was like the Marshall for this year.
Every year, Notre Dame, it seems like, wins some game they shouldn't win, and you're all jazzed up about them, and then they follow it up. And they've been doing this since 1993 when they went to Florida State and beat Charlie Ward, and they were the #1 team and going to win the national championship, and they lost to Boston College. It's happened all the time since. And I told you, I said, it's going to happen. I didn't think it'd be week 2, but it did happen. So it's no sweat off my back. Like, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but I'm not uber invested like you are because you lived in South Bend, and I feel terrible that it's week 2 and your season's already over.
Well, you know what? Notre Dame did what Notre Dame does.
They did. That's right.
They always do that. It didn't surprise me. Am I bummed? Absolutely. Am I shocked? No.
Here's a bigger question for you, though. And you know Notre Dame football better than probably most men do. You don't know much about sports, but you do know Notre Dame football very well. How is it that Notre Dame every year has to go to the transfer portal to get some obscure guy who I've never heard of to be their quarterback?
Are you talking about the guy from Duke?
They got some. Duke stinks.
Yeah.
And their big get in the transfer portal was this quarterback from Duke. And the year before it was this guy from Wake Forest.
Well, you know what they'll tell you? It's the academics. It's very hard to get into Notre Dame. So they have to meet these standards and be able to play football.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, it was a crazy weekend for college football. Wolverines were manhandled in their, the big house.
Well, and we'll get into this with Hammer when he comes in for his segment, but I was 3-2 for college football on Saturday. Now, my result of my NFL week is going to depend on tonight because yesterday was kind of a train wreck for me until the end, but my big, it's called Ballin' on a Budget, where I take a parlay. It's the last thing on the Degenerates Next Door podcast, a parlay for people that you can bet a little less. I am in that tonight. If the 49ers win the game, no points, they just got to win the game on the money line. We win Ballin' on a Budget, which will save the entire NFL Sunday for me. So we'll see how it goes. College football was a good day.
Yeah.
NFL was a train wreck yesterday, but it can all be saved
tonight.
If the 49ers win this game tonight.
Tonight, by the way.
No points necessary. Need just a 1-point win. That's it, Casey.
By the way, in the latest AP poll, Notre Dame went from 5th down to 18. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Working.
Are you struggling with bad feet? Hi, this is Phoebe, and at the Good Feet store, we hear a lot about foot, knee, hip, and back pain. I'd like you to hear what Kels say about the Good Feet Arch Support System.
As an exercise specialist, I've seen all kinds of things that people try to put in their shoes to get out of pain. What I really like about the Good Feet system is that they support all 4 arches in the foot.
So, did you know you had 4 arches in each foot? Most shoes and inserts only support 1. Maybe that's the reason all the remedies you've tried in the past just didn't work.
When the foot's placed in the ideal position, everything else up the kinetic chain works better. You have better balance, more energy, you're gonna feel better. Being able to move freely and out of pain means everything to me, and good movement starts with the feet.
We're located in Castleton by the Fashion Mall or in Greenwood, just off the 65. Learn more at goodfeet.com. Good Feet Arch Supports are HSA and FSA eligible. Book an appointment for your free personalized fitting at goodfeet.com or just stop in. Walk-ins are welcome. Helping people live pain-free, 2 feet at a time.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay, Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Biden is dead set to fulfill his agenda before leaving office. Translation, more money printing and soaring inflation. Is gold the answer to protect your savings and retirement? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 988. Don't let inflation wreck your IRA or 401k. Act now to secure your future. Text SHELTER to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
This September, Diamonds Direct's ultimate offer is back, stronger than ever. Diamonds Direct helps you get the perfect jewelry gift with 0% interest. That's right, enjoy 5 years of 0% financing on any Diamonds Direct purchase. It's your chance to get her the perfect ring with 0 interest and comfortable monthly payments that fit your budget. But act fast. This offer ends September 30th. For details and more, visit diamondsdirect.com. Spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest on approved credit. Only at Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Can you hear me? So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the mayor had some things to say over the weekend that have caught the attention of many Indy residents. Plus, why this Hoosier congressman was in Israel last week, and a comeback and a win in overtime for the Indiana Fever, and just how many points this player scored. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
They keep searching a wooded area around I-75 in Kentucky. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and the manhunt for the accused gunman in Saturday's highway shooting.
More than 150 law enforcement officers are helping in the investigation and searching the area, which police describe as a jungle that they need machetes to cut through.
Fox's Garrett Tenney reports many schools in the area are closed today.
The man they're searching for is 32-year-old Joseph Couch, a 4-year veteran of the National Guard, who police say Saturday morning legally bought a gun and about 1,000 rounds of ammo. That evening, he climbed down a cliff to a ledge overlooking the highway near the small town of London, Kentucky, about 76 miles south of Lexington, and he started shooting at cars on the interstate.
There were 5 people who were wounded in the shooting, 2 others injured in a car accident. A barely contained wildfires led to evacuations east of L.A., burning 31 square miles near Highland, California. Thousands of homes and businesses at risk. Democrats are pushing back on the new House Republican report critical of the Biden administration for the 2021 Afghanistan withdrawal. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg tells CNN.
Why are they delivering a report after Labor Day in a presidential election year? I think it really feeds into a sense that this is something they're using as a political football.
Congressman Michael McCall, who led the GOP investigation, just told Fox.
You know me, I'm a federal prosecutor many years. I did this very methodically, weighed the facts and the evidence.
The chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal included a suicide bombing that killed 13 U.S. troops.
The reason it took so long, quite frankly, was the first year the Democrats were in power. They did nothing.
Vice President Harris remains in Pittsburgh, prepping for her first debate with former President Trump tomorrow night. She told reporters she is ready and is reportedly using a Trump impersonator in mock debates. Latest New York Times poll has the race pretty much tied. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
They say it was a joke. It's 57 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Registering to vote in November was the message, but you may have heard Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett appear to crack wise about his lack of public appearances since the sexual harassment accusations made against his former chief of staff, Thomas Cook.
I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
Hogsett speaking on Saturday, the mayor's office saying that Hogsett was making a joke. A few perps tried to use a car to break into a gun store in Greenwood overnight. It was at the trading post along State Road 135. The thieves drove the car into the store and were able to make off with a few guns. The thieves are still on the loose. A woman killed after a crash, a woman killed in a crash that happened early Sunday. Jake McDaniel.
Police are investigating the scene that took place around 10 o'clock on Kessler Boulevard near North Tuxedo Street. They say the woman was driving a gray vehicle and then crashed into a white car with a man and 2 passengers. They were injured and they are in the hospital where they are recovering. Police will provide more details after further investigations. Jake McDaniel, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
One of your members of Congress says that the U.S. needs to keep up support for Israel in their fight against Hamas. That after more hostages were executed by the terror group last week.
October 7 was Israel's 9/11. Several people killed.
Congressman Jim Banks on All Indiana Politics. October 7th marking when Hamas fighters stormed a music festival and took the hostages. Banks was in Israel last week meeting with Israeli leaders. 30 points for Aaliyah Boston in overtime and a victory over Atlanta Sunday for the Indiana Fever.
We're in a good spot. Just continue to know that even if we're down, no matter what time of the game it is, we're very capable of coming back.
Caitlin Clark adding 26 of her own. The Las Vegas Aces come calling on Wednesday. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you own an annuity? Right now, you could upgrade your annuity and get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. It's true. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. Learn more by calling Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
If you currently own an annuity, discover how you could get 40% more income, tax-deferred growth, and pay fewer fees and expenses. Bill Demery's the guy that can break it all down for you. This upgrade could add up to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in additional lifetime income. And it won't cost you a dime. Talk to Bill Demery today. 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120. Bill Demery, your retirement guy.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, September 9th. It's 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, number one rated program on a number one rated radio station.
Yeah, boy, there's so many internet trolls and people at the State House, and even some people at our YouTube chat.
Yeah, they don't like that either,
well,
huh?
I mean, do you see the things they type all day?
No, I didn't look at it.
I mean, we've long chuckled at the people who loathe us, yet commit 3 hours a day every day to watching our show.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
I don't know.
So we were talking last segment about football, and of course you and Hammer have that fantastic podcast, The Degenerates Next Door. You might want to fire up another podcast, Rob, because you should prepare for legalized betting.
Oh.
This on whether Democrats will reclaim the House of Representatives starting as soon as next week. On Friday, this federal judge authorized Americans to place bets on congressional election outcomes.
I saw this. So obviously betting is illegal in America. And the premise behind this, and we can get to this in a second, is they don't want like outside money influencing the results of elections, which is hilarious given the super PACs and these special interest groups and everything that exist and the just general stranglehold lobbyists have on lawmakers, period. But the thinking always was, well, we don't want the mafia basically tipping the scale of elections, but the mafia, I mean, they're not called the mafia, but they're the political mafia already does this. So but the judge, a federal judge in Washington D.C., threw out this regulation. There's a governing body, and they threw out this regulation. And now the government has requested and said an emergency stay, saying we want to appeal this. If you don't stay this ruling, then it would go into effect as soon as possibly tomorrow. And so, I mean, we'll see. Look, the poly market thing is huge across the world where people bet regularly on U.S. politics. We've talked about it many times here about how Trump has gone way up in the poly market accounts. And so, we'll see what happens.
So the startup company is called Kalshi. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Kalshi?
close enough.
Yeah, they're already ready to go. But what happens on election night then? It's not just about results, it's about your payout.
Well, let's work through this. Okay, so what's the harm? It's sort of the same argument they had with college athletics, right? Which is, oh my gosh, if there is, or pro sports. Oh my gosh, if betting is legalized outside of Las Vegas, it'll just be guys throwing games everywhere and kids shaving points, and this is going to be horrific. There has been, in the 5 years since it's gone nationwide with legalized sports betting, or 6 years or whatever it's been now, there have been very few documented instances of point shaving, manipulating. There have been a couple, and those people have been, the big one where there appeared to be manipulation was there was a guy in the NBA who they caught him on he was in on prop bets with, I think he owed money to people, and like he took himself out of a game and claimed he had an injury, and he's been banned for life. There have been other players who have been suspended for using sports betting apps, but there's no proof they altered any games. It's sort of the same thing here. Like, okay, so you want to bet on Trump, Harris. What do you think? Trump's going to find out about that and then not want to be president or throw the election, or Harris is going to find out about it? And I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody can give me a valid reason, but with all the money that's already in politics, what valid reason would there be to not allow people in a regulated industry to be able to put bets on who they think is going to win the presidency?
Well, one thing that it could do is make people engage with politics like never before.
Yeah,
if they've got a buck or two riding on it, they might be more inclined to become involved.
I'm not asking to be facetious. I'm genuinely curious, with all the money that is in politics and between the lobbyists and the political action committees and the special interest groups and the candidates themselves, and like what concern would it be of theirs if I put $5 on Trump to beat Harris?
Right. Well, you've already got your politicalization, right? Because of your ideological differences. You've got a financial stake in it as well.
But if I've got money on it, I would bet on people I don't like if I thought I could win money.
Just like in some games, it may not be your favorite team, but if it comes, is that going to be enough to sway people's votes, though?
Well, okay, so that would be the thing is, so if, let's say, you bet on Harris and you live in Pennsylvania, I mean, but
you want to cash in,
but you still gotta.
Aren't you going to do everything to get your money back?
I mean, I guess theoretically, like, let's work through this. If you had bet $10 million on Harris and you spent $5 million on ads in Pennsylvania, then you could theoretically help rig the system to where you made $5. But man, that's such a reach, Casey. Well, I mean, that's such a reach to think, because just running ads doesn't mean a guarantee a person's going to win. That doesn't. I mean, okay, you bet $5 million on Harris or $10 million on Harris, and what, you're going to go knock on doors for Harris? I mean, that's your right as an American citizen. I don't know.
Well, I think, there's already integrity questions about our election, so this could just make it even worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
What people will do to make a buck.
I would need to see concrete evidence when you're interfering with someone's liberty and freedom, that's what they're doing here. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying, on the very high level research I've done, I'm not seeing a great reason why a regulated industry shouldn't exist where people can bet on politics the same way they do sports.
Well, I believe at this point it's only for congressional races too.
Right, but how about any of it? I mean,
right? Set the precedent.
I mean,
you allow betting for one, why not all of them?
True.
Okay, so we've got the debate tomorrow night. It's on ABC, and you've got David Muir and Lindsey Davis. They're going to be moderating.
Do you think he's attractive?
David Muir?
Yeah.
He's one of those big head guys. Like bobbleheadish.
What do you mean?
Like he's not a very tall man.
Oh, really?
And
we can't tell in that chair.
Right. But when he stands up, I don't believe he's very tall.
Right.
But he looks like he has a big head.
No kidding.
And a lot of people with big heads become famous.
Seemed like he'd be right up your alley. Rich and distinguished. Mostly on the rich side of the equation.
Right. He's got a big wallet.
Yeah. But
he's all right. I mean, if I had to pick a news channel to watch, a mainstream news network to watch, I guess it would be David Muir.
ABC's probably the least offensive.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say they're not offensive, but they're the least offensive.
On the scale.
Yeah.
So Harris and Trump, they're each going to have 2 minutes to answer questions and 2 minutes to give rebuttals. They were granted 1 minute additional to clarify for follow-up. Microphones are going to be turned off or muted when it's not their turn to speak. They won't give opening statements. Trump won the coin flip, by the way, to determine the order of their closing statements and also where they will be on the podium, their podium placement.
Let's face it, though, right? And this might be a little different, but the closing statement is irrelevant if it's the first 15 minutes.
Right.
It's like a new television show. You got 15 minutes to hook them or lose them. And, you got to come out rip-roaring, and then most of the people who make it past 15 minutes have already made up their mind anyway. The people are going to get a feel for it. It's later in the evening. They got kids. They got work. I don't think you're going to get a huge percentage of the people that make it from the beginning to the end.
90 minutes, 2 commercial breaks.
That's way too long.
And you're right. If you're staying past the first 15, 20 minutes, you're doing it for sport.
It becomes a soundbite thing after about those first 15 or 20 minutes. Don't say anything stupid after that'll end up being
repeated,
right,
over and over again.
And this is, we were talking about this during that governor's debate, which was that these people, all 5 or 6 or how many of them were running out there, they were just like boring out of the draw. And it's like, you got to come blazing with an opening statement, and then your first answer, even if it ain't the question you want, give the answer you want, because that's what people are going to remember. And those people looked like they were at some sort of craft convention or something instead of campaigning for their political lives.
Well, Trump is going to have the final closing statement, and what he could do, regardless of what the first question is, answer it very quickly and say, but I want to talk about this.
Well, sure.
And introduce a new subject.
They never answer the questions anyway. Every answer Trump gives should be about one of 4 things. Inflation, economy, border, foreign policy. No, it doesn't matter what she says about E. Jean Carroll or January 6th or Stormy Daniels or whatever. It should not matter to Donald Trump.
Redirect.
Absolutely, because everybody already has an opinion on that. The people who ain't going to vote for you ain't going to vote for you anyway. They probably weren't going to vote for you to begin with. Don't get off where the winnable people are. Boom, period.
So there's not going to be a live audience, and we'll see how it goes. You're going to watch the whole thing.
Am I?
Are you?
Do I have to?
I think so.
Do I have? But my mind's already made up.
Right?
I'm excited to go see our friends and our listeners. But once the thing starts, do I have to stay for the whole thing?
I don't know. You'll have to ask your boss.
Well, you are my boss. You're my direct supervision.
We have to get ready for Wednesday's show. Okay, so no, it'll be fun. And I'll be interested to see how it plays out. She's been prepping with a Trump impersonator.
Oh.
You think that's going to help her?
Well, there's
she's the one who's got to nail this, right?
There's 2 schools of thought on debating in general, right? There's 2 kind of ways you can go about it. You can either go about it on an emotional level, which is then you kind of go at it with arguments that you believe are going to tug on people's emotions. You're going to come at them with a lot of passion. There's not a lot of context, which probably is going to be right up her alley. Or you can kind of cerebrally, go at the person you're with facts and figures and whatever, and that ain't going to be her. So, you're going to get that. You're going to get everything's going to be January 6th, Trump's a criminal, E. Jean Carroll, Stormy Daniels, McDougal, blah, who knows? But what is she going to say? The country's in shambles, and she's been there the whole time.
No light between them. So Nate Silver's prediction places Donald Trump, his chances at 63% compared to 36% for Harris. And we talked about this last week, and Trump has gone up even since a few days ago. And now there's been that New York Times poll that came out that said Trump has now overtaken Kamala.
Part of, and one more thing that I know we got to get to a break, but one of the things that the liberal people don't get, and I think it's hilarious, is they're like, there's some lady in the chat all the time, I hope she brings all of it up. She'll lose. She'll lose because that doesn't make food more affordable. It doesn't make gas more affordable. It doesn't stop 12 million people illegally entering in the country, many of them committing heinous crimes, and even those who aren't are sucking vital government services. It doesn't fix that there's hundreds of billions of dollars that have gone to some ill-begotten conflict in the Ukraine. Like, it doesn't, if that's all she has and Trump handles it properly, then it's a huge loss for her. But the liberal people, see, they can't see they can't see past their hate. Like, there's ways to win debates. There's a reason we're number one. Like, we're good at convincing people we're right. Like, there's a way. There's a process. It's just like with the door hangers. There's a methodology. We'll get to that in a little bit. One of that side of that door hanger is really good, and the other is awful. But there's a methodology to this stuff. There's a method to the madness, and the people who do it well know what they're doing. And so, hate is not a viable path to victory most of the times. You have to spell out what you're for, and it has to be viable. And the problem is she's hooked to Joe Biden. She may have got the Democrats who didn't want to vote for Biden, but the polling shows she's not convincing any undecided people to vote for her, and she will lose if the jelly beans are counted fairly unless she convinces people to vote for her. And simply telling people Trump's a bad guy, they already know that. People are deciding right now.
Yeah, it's already baked in.
Right. Who's going to help most with the price?
Who's going to help me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Kamala Harris is there right now. She's the de facto president because, let's be honest, President Applesauce Brains isn't calling the shots. Nope. It's her and the Obamas. And they're talking about how we need to have hope in this country. Donald Trump has not been the president for nearly 4 years now. And 12 of the last 16 years has been Democrat leadership. So why do we need hope? This is your doing. It's ridiculous.
Hammer and Nigel. Weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Pat Sullivan here for Hope Plumbing. For 17 years, my friends at Hope Plumbing have treated homes like their very own. With local owners who care deeply about this community, they put your health and safety at the forefront of their business. That's why when I need plumbing help, no matter how big or small, I only call Hope Plumbing. They care about you and your family, which is why I believe they're the very best place to take your plumbing problems. Give them a call at 641-HOPE. That's 641-HOPE or hopeplumbing.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom. Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
To celebrate Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
Is this right? He's won 17 Grammys? He's also won a Pulitzer Prize? Kendrick Lamar?
Who?
Yeah, this is the guy who's going to headline Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans for the halftime show.
Is he a singer?
He's a rapper.
Oh.
He's also a Pulitzer Prize winning artist
sure
and a Grammy Award winner.
Pulitzer, that is for books? Is that books? Is that right? Or is that photographs? What is that?
I believe it's, photographs.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. I'm asking you.
Well,
you look that up.
The internet's right handy here. So who's this guy? What's he do?
He's a rapper, right? Kevin, am I right? He's a rapper?
Yeah, he's a rapper from Compton.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
He's a West Coast rapper.
So he did a lot of work with
journalism,
Dr.
arts,
Dre.
Arts and letters is the Pulitzer. Okay, so the NFL basically, when they brought what's his face in, what's the guy, Rock Jock or Rock Sock or the rapper, the Jay-Z, is that right?
Yeah.
They put him in charge of. This was 5 or 6 years ago, the Super Bowl halftime show, and basically what they said is if you're over the age of say 55, we simply are writing you off and we don't give two you-know-whats about whether you watch this thing or not. The NFL, which is a stark contrast to in the mid-2000s, basically for like a decade, the NFL said we are going to go uber risk-averse after the Timberlake, Janet Jackson thing. And it was sort
of wardrobe malfunction.
Right. It was the Rolling Stones. It was Springsteen. It was Prince, Tom Petty, The Who.
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith.
Yep.
I mean, it was sort of these Universal. I think they had a Motown one at one point where it was like, okay, we're going to keep everybody in the stew on this, right? And they've kind of gone the other way, which is they're going all for the younger demo. And if you're over a certain age, they simply do not care.
So I looked up some of his most popular songs, and I'm sure you know this one, right, Rob?
My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral.
Can you even play that?
You know this one, right?
Is that legal?
I know. It's levels to it, you and I know.
Name that tune. Do you know what it's called?
Did he start off by saying my left stroke just went viral?
Yeah.
And my right stroke? What? Can you play the beginning of that again?
Sure. Can we, Kevin?
My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral.
Yeah.
Right. So left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put baby
in a spiral.
In a spiral. Oh. Well, that's right up there with...
Can Krista Berg write lyrics like that?
I mean, that's just right up there with, some of the most gut-wrenchingly deep songs in the history of music. I mean, wow, that's incredible. So, I mean, I'll need to find
12 to 14 minutes of that, by the way.
Well,
the halftime show.
No, it will not be. That's what I'm saying. I need to find basically 20 minutes during the Super Bowl halftime show to preoccupy myself.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me.
By the way, that song is called Humble.
Yeah.
Right?
It sounds very humble.
Yeah. It was number one song on Billboard.
He's known for his humility.
There were a lot of songs that went to number one, Casey. Do we want to play that game of just ridiculous trash that's gone to number one?
Okay, well, let's talk about another musical artist, Elton John, giving his support kind of to Donald Trump. He sat down for a Variety interview, and they were talking about how Donald Trump called Kim Jong-un Lil Rocket Man.
I know that you're not a supporter of Donald Trump's. He loves your music. How did it feel when he took the lyrics to Rocket Man and he used it as a nickname for Kim Jong-un, and then he gave Kim Jong-un
I laughed. I thought it was brilliant. I just thought, good on you, Donald. I'm the Rocket Man, yeah. Donald's always been a fan of mine, and he's been to my concerts many, many times. So, I mean, I've always been friendly towards him, and I thank him for his support. Yeah, when he did that, I just thought it was hilarious. It made me laugh.
He gave Kim one of your CDs and signed it. That was in one of the books about him, because Kim, I guess, didn't know the song. So,
what's that?
He gave Kim Jong-un the signed CD.
Yes.
Which
yeah.
He'd never heard of it.
I know, because he hasn't heard of me, Kim Jong-un. I'd be very surprised if he had. I've never toured North Korea, and I have no intention of doing so. But I thought it was a light moment, and it was fun.
Okay, so he can admit that he's friendly with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump likes his music, but I wouldn't exactly call that an endorsement. But all of these people liked Donald Trump at one point.
Well, and Elton John, because Elton John famously played Rush Limbaugh's wedding. Elton John likes money, and he likes fame, and he is basically like, dude, show check, will travel. And he knows that a lot of people who go to his concerts are Republicans. So he's taken that sort of narrow path, at least on dealing with someone like Trump, where it's like, whatever, the politics are the politics. I like living in my castle. But he looked a little rugged, though, in that video. I had not seen him in quite a while. And he looked as though he'd been spending a little too much time with the candle in the wind. Although he is old. How old is Elton John? He's got to be in his late 70s?
Late 70s?
What do we guess?
Early 80s?
I'll say he's 76. What do you say?
I think he's older than that.
Okay.
I'm going to say 78.
Kev?
I'm going to go 79.
All right, 78, 79, 76. Price is Right rules. You go over, you lose. Elton John is 77. I am the winner.
Okay. Hope you bet more than $1. We've got some voicemails coming up with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Sinus pain. You know it all too well. It's constant. It's frustrating. The pressure, the headaches, the snoring, the constant clogged feeling. You're tired of feeling like this, but you've tried nasal sprays, over-the-counter medicines, even home remedies. No matter what you try, nothing gives you lasting sinus relief. You're tired of missing out and feeling miserable. There is something you can do, something different. Indianapolis Sinus Center. The physicians at Indianapolis Sinus Center have been serving the community with proven treatments for over 50 years. They know what you're going through, and they're standing by ready to offer you the best treatments to provide long-term relief. Breathe better. You don't have to keep suffering from sinus pain. Call Indianapolis Sinus Center today at 317-528-9650 and take the first step toward relief. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650 or go to IndianapolisSinusCenter.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends and family at Life Church. Man, we had a great time yesterday at Life Church. You always leave Life Church feeling better about yourself. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a new church home or even a first church home, why not check out the place that we found a home at, Life Church. They're warm, they're welcoming. They would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. And I think a big reason why is they treat you like so much more than a number. They treat you like an individual. You matter at Life Church. They got campuses all across central Indiana, plus amazing online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. 800-948-1659. That's 800-948-1659.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
She's back at it. It's 62 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Vice President Kamala Harris is back to some campaigning after taking some time to prep for tomorrow's debate. Fox's Jared Halpern.
The vice president has spent the past several days in Pittsburgh preparing for the ABC presidential debate against former President Trump. But after marking the anniversary of the September 11th attacks Wednesday, the Harris campaign is making a swing state tour. Harris will be in North Carolina on Thursday and return to Pennsylvania on Friday. Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, campaigns in Michigan and Wisconsin. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The search is on in Laurel County, Kentucky for a man who went on a shooting spree along a Kentucky highway. 5 people were badly hurt when the shooter opened fire along a stretch of the highway. Investigators say that the shooter is named Joseph Couch. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish dropping like a stone in water through the AP Top 25 as the 5th-ranked team in the nation. They lost to Northern Illinois Saturday.
Let the ball get outside of us too much, and so that's not the Notre Dame defense we've built over the past 3 and 4 years. Like, that's not a performance that we're proud of.
Head coach Marcus Freeman, the Irish will face Purdue this coming Saturday, ranked 18th. The Boilermakers coming off a week off. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
As our loved ones age, ensuring their safety at home becomes a top priority. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I'll be right back with some practical things you can do to reduce the possibility of a fall or injury.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
Removing tripping hazards such as rugs and floor clutter is one way to prevent or minimize falls around the home. Another is to position grab bars in the restroom and other common areas where your loved one may need some extra support. Contact your local area agency on aging to inquire about low-cost or free installation services. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Open House is Saturday. Local craft vendors 11 to 3, Hamilton County Llamas 11 to 1, 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. Contact Zero Res now for 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $119 and take $75 off air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com for huge savings.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
317-684-8444. That is the phone number. If you'd like to get involved with your voicemails, give us your questions, comments, smart remarks, whatever. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. This first phone call is about Elon Musk. We were talking about how he said that he would serve in a government accountability position in a Trump administration, and somebody wanted to comment on that.
I heard you guys talking with Trump was, I don't know if it was on where he was, but talking about putting together the committee with Elon Musk, and Rob was lamenting the fact that, well, has Trump learned his lesson and all this kind of stuff, which I would agree. As much as I love Trump, he an extreme weakness of his is his willingness to be flattered and his willingness to, forgive and forget and want to try to move forward and work with. He should want to come in and absolutely crush Democrats, the DOJ, the FBI. He should gut every institution. He should take this committee with Elon and eliminate education, agriculture, interior, in like 6 departments. That's what he should do. That's what the Democrats would do. They put this committee together and under the guise of whatever they would do, persecuting and jailing conservatives. But these guys are going to be, actually, looking for ways to cut the government. And I am concerned, Rob, that Trump is not going to come in with a cutthroat enough retribution and revenge. I mean, he should be investigating.
Okay, so did the assassination attempt make him more cutthroat?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's going to take a leap of faith, right? Because Trump already had an opportunity to do all of these things, and he chose not to do them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, I know this guy calls our show a lot, and he's a lot more passionate about Trump than I am. But I don't know. I guess at this point, we're just all hoping for the best, Casey.
Yeah, I mean, you recall all of the lock her up calls regarding Hillary Clinton. And
the only one who got locked up was him.
Right. And then what happened? By the way, Elon Musk said that his SpaceX rocket is going to Mars in 2026.
Saw that. That seems a bit adventurous that he's going to put a rocket on Mars.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be unmanned.
But then he said within 4 years, right, that his goal is to send a man. There's no way somebody could go. I mean, that's a suicide mission. I mean, if you just were like, I'm going to just go into space and never come back, then okay. But what? I don't know.
The vetting process for that astronaut would be
I think there's
incredible.
Way too much mad scientist for Elon Musk. I think the guy is like a Dr. Frankenstein type character, and clearly he's very brilliant and has made a lot of money in his life. But I really don't want Elon Musk in charge of things because I think there are too many just bizarro things about this guy, and I don't know.
His SpaceX Starship is the biggest and most powerful rocket ever built, and it's designed to be reusable.
Would you go on it?
Heck no.
Okay, thank you.
Here's another phone call, and this one is directed, well, kind of to me, but also to you.
Good morning, guys. Rob, do me a favor. Please go easy on Casey today. Please be gentle.
Yes.
Because she might be suicidal today after that Notre Dame loss, because that's probably the worst loss I think I've ever seen them lose. So please be kind today. Also, anyone out there that thinks that Joe Hogsett doesn't have a drinking problem needs to listen to that audio from over the weekend. My father and grandfather were alcoholics. I would say that they were the town drunks, but the town I'm from in Tennessee, everyone was a drunk. But I just wanted to say that because there's no way you can listen to that audio and say that he doesn't have a drinking problem. Anyway, thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, a couple things. So, yeah, the Notre Dame loss, that was quite the upset. 16-14, last minute, that 35-yard field goal, 31 seconds left. But as we stated previously, Notre Dame did what Notre Dame always does. One thing that I did want to share with everybody was the radio call.
Oh.
Proving how there's nothing better than local radio. Of course, this wasn't Notre Dame local radio. This is NIU's local radio.
He's lining it up. 5 seconds left. NIU up 16-14. 62-yarder. Snap, hold, Jeter's kick. It's blocked! It's blocked! It's blocked! Picked up by NIU! Picked up by NIU! The Huskies have done it! The Huskies with the biggest upset in NIU history! They come to South Bend, Indiana, and they knock off the number 5 team in the country.
Yes,
NIU 16. Notre Dame 14. The football gods were shining down on NIU.
That guy was very excited. Of course, the Irish had their chance to win that game with 5 seconds remaining, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, so it's funny you played that because I spent many, many years earning my living. I owned a company that streamed high school and college sporting events on the internet, and we had lower level. Now, NIU's a Division I. They're a MAC school, so they're not like low level, but they're small enough to where they probably don't have a regular, I mean, they don't have their own TV deal. They're probably on a local radio station where they're located at. And we used to kind of chuckle about that because those are the sort of schools like that we would have schools like that. And you think about this, he sounded like a kid. I don't know if it was a student broadcast or what it was, but this kid goes to goes to this game thinking we're going to get our brains beat out. You know, it'd be cool. We get to play Notre Dame. You know, your husband and I were talking about this on Saturday. There probably were a lot of NIU fans there because of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of, hey, we're playing Notre Dame.
Right.
It's not that far of a drive, and you get to go to Notre Dame Stadium. So Jim and I were talking about how, hey, there's probably were more people there than you anticipate. But think about this guy, because he just happens to be at that game, gets this call that's been heard all over the nation.
Yeah.
And you go there unsuspecting, thinking, well, there'll be 9 people listening to me on the student radio station and now, or the community radio station, and now here I am. I'm all over the country.
Well, you can just definitely hear his passion and excitement in that. What the upset, though. $1.4 million, they pay that team to come there, and then they end up, I mean, come on.
Here's the mistake the guy made, though, Casey.
What's
and this
that?
is for all you.
Who, the announcer or the?
The announcer.
Okay.
This is for all you wannabe broadcasters out there. You know what we don't know?
What?
His name.
It's true.
Because you set up a call like that, you have to be aware enough. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. You set up a call like that knowing you're probably about to beat Notre Dame unless this guy can kick a 62-yard field goal. So you know you're about to beat Notre Dame. You know they're going to want audio of the winning side. And so you've got to set that up saying, I'm Jim Smith from Notre Dame Stadium. Like, and then there's your call.
Right.
Now, nobody knows who this guy is. How are you gonna monetize that? You have this great call, and nobody knows your name.
Well, you know what? If he does want to be in broadcasting, that needs to be the very first clip on his demo.
All the time, you will hear us say the Kendall and Casey show. We'll say our names because you just never know. You never know when history's gonna strike.
Now, he also mentioned something about Joe Hogsett over the weekend. So let's remind everybody what Joe Hogsett sounded like this weekend.
I want you all, look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but
we know.
I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
If you watch that video, one of the most interesting parts is there's a guy, I don't know, I guess he was a stage worker or something, and he's in the background shot of that, and you can just see him laughing because he's like, this guy.
He was swaying while he was saying
There's something going on with this guy.
Yeah, we all know what's going on with that guy.
Well,
and at what point is he going to step down?
Well, and so that is the question, right? Is even if, okay, let's say there was nothing going on with Hogsett. Let's say like they said, oh, he was making a joke.
That's not something you joke about.
Well, right.
Women's safety and security was put in jeopardy.
And, okay, so the two options you're kind of left with if you're a rational thinking person is the guy is so insensitive and has so little regard for the office that he's making jokes about this very serious thing. Or he has so little self-control that he's somehow inebriated on the stage. Like, and if you're that, you know you're going to this event, you know you're going to whatever. It's like, great example. You and I had to speak on Saturday.
Correct.
And, you know, they were offering, hey, do you guys want something to drink throughout the course of the thing we went to? No, we got to get up and speak. And then once we're done, then maybe, but it's like, you got to know where you're going to be. And if you have that little self-control, I mean, that's just as bad if you have that little self-control.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and Hammer is going to join us next.
3:06. That's when we crack the mic. We are the Hammer and Nigel Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. This afternoon, Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford. The biggest stories in Indy, and we're going to have a lot of fun. 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. You know, man, it's hard to believe we're going on 4 years since I made the trip over to We Grow Hair Indy to get my hair back. And what a great choice it has been. The great thing about heading over to We Grow Hair Indy is I see the positive results of the choice every time I look in the mirror. And one of the great things about We Grow Hair Indy is they're very low pressure. Darren and the gang, top-notch customer service all the way. And here's how you do it. You give them a call. 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995, or head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com. You schedule a totally free, no obligation, no hassle consultation. Darren and the guys take a look at what's going on the top of your head, and they'll give you some ideas. They'll give you some thoughts. They'll give you some suggestions, and then you make the call. It's totally up to you. Had a great time at We Grow Hair Indy. 317-522-2995, 317-522-2995. Or see them on the web at WeGrowHairIndy.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
Back to school season arrives in Indiana. It's time to focus on school supplies and those home projects you've been delaying. Don't worry. With Moss Roofing, you're not alone. They're here to help with your roofing and siding, making sure your home is a safe place for math homework each and every day. Choose Moss Roofing to transform your home's exterior with top-notch James Hardy siding, protecting your home from those Indiana storms and enhancing your curb appeal. Their inspections are always free, and they'll even give you a 3D design link so you can visualize the makeover before they even begin. Talk to Moss Roofing today, a second-generation family business based right here in central Indiana. For a job done right every single time. I love when they do that. MossRoofing.com, 317-747-3665. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, MossRoofing.com.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us, lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Hey, it's Robin. I've put my name behind Garage Doors of Indianapolis for the past 7 years because they're a local conservative company that does quality work on time. In many ways, Garage Doors of Indianapolis is the perfect Hoosier. Recently, they helped my family in a garage door pinch by arriving on site quickly and fixing the problem right away. For all of your garage door needs, call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 317-875-4577. 317-875-4577. Or visit them at doorstoday.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, Having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
There he is, Hammer from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program. Joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Store.hammerandnigel.com. That is your one-stop shop for all of your Hammer and Nigel merch.
Okay, so college football over the weekend.
You had a good weekend.
Yeah,
you had a winning weekend.
I did.
3-2 on the picks.
Yeah, so pretty happy with that. You and I kind of did reverse skis. You were not so great on the college, but really dominant on the NFL.
I went 2-3 on college this weekend, and it was some of the heavyweights that let me down. I was 2-1 heading into the night stretch. I thought, all right, we got Bama, we got Oregon, and neither one of them covered. Yeah, Colorado was just a loss. Just missed that one. I thought they would at least score a little more, but Bama laid an egg. Oregon doesn't look good, but the NFL Sunday, I went 3-1, and we got action tonight.
Yep.
And out of all the prop bets that we've made, going back to Thursday to yesterday, out of the 7 that we gave on the show, we hit 5.
Nice.
So we're hitting prop bets at 71%, 3-1 heading into tonight.
And here's the thing, big game for me tonight, Casey, because yesterday the actual game's not great. However, as part of the show, at the end of the show, I do what's called Ballin' on a Budget, where I take a parlay of games and say, hey, for a little bit of coin, you can bet on these games, and here's your payout. And I am one win away from hitting the Ballin' on a Budget, which will totally redeem me for a lackluster performance of games yesterday. And all I need, Hammer, is the 49ers to win the game. I don't even need by points. I just need a 49ers victory tonight.
How about they win by 4 or less?
There you go.
Can I meet you on that? Because I got Jets +4.
And that's how you win.
Yes, we can both win tonight. And really, if that happens, that means I'm only a Tennessee Titans historic collapse away from running the table.
Yeah, Phil Sanchez is a man crush there, old Will Levis. Phil loves that guy, and I think he's hot garbage. And now I'm mad at Phil because I took the Titans with those points. Think about that. What was it? It was like 17-0.
Right. So with the points, it was 21-0 in the second half.
Right.
Counting the point spread, 2 touchdowns, 1 special teams, a bad pick 6, and the Titans screwed both of us.
And the only reason I bet on those guys was because Phil Sanchez, all winter long, all spring long, all summer long, kept posting about how great Will Levis was, and he was hot garbage, Phil Sanchez.
Hot trash.
You owe me some money because that was your fault.
So make sure you download the podcast, The Degenerates Next Door. The earlier you download the podcast, often you get better numbers.
That's true.
Like early bird gets the worm. You get better odds the quicker you make some of your wagers. Real quick, if anybody could help out my oldest boy.
He's balling on a budget too, right?
Chris Hammer.
Yeah.
He's trying to save and keep the UIndy men's bowling team going.
Now, he went to UIndy to bowl.
Yes. I think he was going to go anyway. It's not like he's, Arch Manning that, selected Texas. Went to UIndy, but went there because he could bowl. And to their credit, the school is still offering, some of these kids their scholarship money. It's not like we're not talking full rides here, like $1,000, $500 here. Every little bit helps. But it sounds like there was a combination of either budget cuts or, more realistically, Title IX compliance that allowed the women's bowling team to stay and the men's bowling team to go away.
Wait. Yeah. So they're not getting rid of the women's bowling team. They're getting rid of the men's bowling team.
Yeah.
The women's team, they have
to have equal numbers of teams.
Yeah, right. And with athletes, too. And the football program takes up a lot of dudes, right? But that's fine. But the women's team, they're still there. They've got a coach. He gets paid and he's got an office. Everything went away from the men's team. And my oldest son was like, 1, that stinks. And number 2, I don't want our seniors to not have, the bowling team this year. So he's done all the legwork. He spoke with the university. They've been incredibly cool. And basically what's going to happen is they're letting him run the show as a student-ran organization. Not necessarily a sport at the university, but it's a student-ran thing. So he's like, all right, fine. Don't threaten me with a good time. So he's raising money to get the team into tournaments, travel expenses, and stuff like that.
So he's got a GoFundMe page set up.
He does. If you go to the Hammer and Nigel Show Twitter, at Hammer and Nigel, or a Facebook page, facebook.com/Hammer and Nigel, you can make a donation. The goal is $5,000. And we're more than halfway there.
Nice.
Great.
That pays for entries into tournaments, hotel rooms when these kids go on the road, if they have to eat when they're staying at these places, things like that.
No, I don't do anything on the internet as it relates to transferring money or whatever, but I do have actual cash. Will you accept this actual cash I'm about to give you?
I will, because this is what happens when Rob wins on college football games. He's like, he's more charitable here now. Monty Burns over here.
Old Rob Soprano with a little taste to the Godfather.
Well, thank you very much. And all of these kids are really good, smart kids. They just want to compete. And again, university's been really cool. They're letting Chris just do what you want. So he's the Pete Rose here. He's the player. He's the captain.
Yeah,
he's running the show. And
you got to support this, because you can't be saying, oh, these kids, they're always just out getting into trouble. You got to support them when they're finding ways to be out of trouble.
Right. So, yeah, we're trying to get into maybe 7 or 8 tournaments. That's like a season.
Am I a booster now? Am I a...
He wants credit.
Am I like the hat? What was the guy's name in Blue Chips? Happy? Is that me? Am I happy?
Yes. I think we need to work on an NIL deal next. Chris Hammer is the official bowler of the Kendall and Casey show.
I bet you'd get a lot of donations if you put Rob's likeness on a ball and someone got to throw it down a lane into
absolutely.
the
pins. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's wonderful.
Part of the sponsorship, every strike, Chris has to do the Big Earn dance where he wiggles the hips around from Kingpin.
What's that one guy's name that there's all those GIFs of on the internet of the bowler man, and he's very excited and eccentric?
I think it's Pete Weber.
Pete Weber.
Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
I am.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, he's so good.
Pete Weber, yes.
But no, he's a good kid, and I told him, I'll give you some promotion, and I made a donation. The rest of this is on you.
Yeah.
So you are in charge. You're doing the thing here, and the kid's doing well. So if anybody can help him out, that'd be awesome.
Perfect. What do you have coming up today?
So AI Joe Hogsett's going to have a response.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We have a little poem called The Night Before the Debate and Monday Gun Day.
All right. Thank you, Hammer. Sounds good. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Mothan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life. And that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
Guys, if you're middle-aged and wonder why it seems harder to keep up, it may be low T. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Not just any TRT, not websites offering basic treatments and prices that sound too good to be true. See the provider specialists at Low T Center.
They offer advanced, personalized treatments with over a decade of experience. Start with a simple test and get results in about 25 minutes. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
It's all in the numbers with Window Nation. They installed over 200,000 windows last year. That's 40 times more than the average window company. Over 20,000 online positive reviews. Do you know how hard it is to get a positive review online?
Buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. 0 down, 0 interest for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. 866-90-NATION. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
50 years ago, Brown versus Board of Education outlawed segregated schools, promising the American dream to everyone. The dream of Oliver Brown was quality education for all children. But in many schools, children are being left behind. The responsibility of educating Indiana students rests on us all, from educators and administrators to parents and community leaders. Brown's dream of a quality education is the birthright of every Hoosier and a civil right guaranteed to us by the state of Indiana. If you feel your civil rights or those of your child have been neglected, or that your child has been purposely denied access to the education resources, you have options. Call the Indiana Civil Rights Commission at 1-866-FAIR-FOR-YOU. That's 1-866-332-4748. Or visit our website at in.gov/ICRC. This message is brought to you by the State of Indiana Civil Rights Commission.
To celebrate, Be Employee Owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee owned. Trust me.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the mayor of Indianapolis had some interesting things to say at an event over the weekend. Plus, Ryan Hedrick reports on a gun store that was robbed early this morning. And it happened again in the season opener for the Indianapolis Colts. It wasn't a good thing. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They have one more day to get ready. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News with first Trump-Harris debate on ABC tomorrow night in Philadelphia, where Fox's Alexandria Hoff reports.
When you imagine presidential debate prep, you picture a mock stage, bright lights, a podium that's just the right height, even a stand-in opponent to practice that pushback. And that's the scene that's been playing out over the course of 5 days in Pittsburgh for Vice President Harris. It's intensive training, according to the New York Times, including essentially a Trump impersonator.
Well, that is not how the former president is getting ready. His campaign spokeswoman, Caroline Levitt, tells Fox.
He doesn't need traditional debate prep. He's proven to be one of the most effective debaters in modern political history. Just look at how he knocked off Joe Biden out of the race and the CNN debate stage. He is very well read on Kamala Harris's record.
Police in Kentucky keep searching dense woods around I-75 in London, south of Lexington, for the accused gunman who shot at cars Saturday, injuring 5 people. 2 more were hurt in a car accident.
Everyone who lives in this area is being asked to stay indoors until he is found. Schools are closed today as well. Police have found the suspect's vehicle, his cell phone, and a weapon they believe belonged to him.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. Speaking of highway safety, the federal government, hoping to reduce pedestrian deaths and injuries, is proposing new rules for automakers designing SUVs and pickup trucks that have been getting bigger and taller, causing blind spots for drivers. Jury selection starts today in Tennessee to try 3 fired Memphis police officers.
Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith, who face second-degree murder and other counts in state court, are heading to federal trial on additional civil rights violations and conspiracy charges in the beating death of Tyree Nichols during a traffic stop last year. They face life in prison if convicted. 2 other accused former cops have agreed to plea deals.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. On Wall Street, a rebound from the biggest sell-off of the year last week. The Dow is surging up 367 points. America's listening to Fox.
Can you blow up?
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Running from what? It's sunny and 64 on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. You may have heard Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett has not attended many public events since sexual harassment accusations were made against his former chief of staff, Thomas Cook. Well, Hogsett appeared to make a joke of his absence at a concert Saturday.
Look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but...
The mayor used the opportunity to encourage people to register to vote this November. A gun store robbed in Greenwood. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The Johnson County Sheriff's Office says they're helping the Greenwood police figure out who drove the car into the Greenwood trading post on Monday morning, which is heavily damaged. They don't know how many guns were taken from the store, but they know this is a common method for people to smash and grab using their cars to drive straight into gun stores. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
They threatened to take a gun to school. Now they aren't at school at all. It happened in Anderson on Sunday when police got a hold of an audio recording of a student making the threats. They figured out who that student was, and the school says that they were taken into custody. Congressman Jim Banks was in Israel all last week.
Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel's goal is to stop Hamas in their tracks. And America should support them in that. I support them in that as a member of Congress.
On All Indiana Politics, he says that he met with Netanyahu as well as families of people taken hostage by Hamas. Many of the hostages whose families he met with have since been killed. Another year, another season. Opening loss for the Indianapolis Colts, 29-27 at the hands of the Houston Texans. Anthony Richardson played well for the most part, but he missed a few key throws.
That's just me. I got to hit those. I got to be better, in the pass game. He did a great job getting open. I just got to, keep working and keep learning him as a receiver and just give him the ball so he can make his plays.
AR talking about A.D. Mitchell there. The Colts head to Green Bay this coming Sunday. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection, sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating. And that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
You're listening to Rob.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Mondays after 11. That's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels, and congratulations. You're number one. I'm not talking to you, Rob. I'm talking to our listeners because they are number one. WIBC in the latest ratings, the number one rated radio station in all of Central Indiana. So congratulations.
How could that be? We're told by the politicians no one's listening. How could that be?
Well, do you think maybe the politicians aren't being honest with you?
No. What?
Yeah.
Why would a politician lie about that?
Because they seek power more than anything.
I think the lesson of this is, because you're right, it's about the people. It's not about us. But the lesson, if I were a politician or I were somebody who were considering running for public office, is there is a great passion out there for something different. I mean, let's face it, what we present, both our show and then, the Hammer and Nigel and to some extent Tony, is much different than the stuff that's being parroted down at the State House, right? And the message that I would take away from that is people are really passionate about their government that listen to this radio station. There are a lot of them out there, and they're willing to engage if you give them something worth engaging on. The problem is they don't see, for the most part, something worth engaging on, and that's why we've started kind of setting this. We've started prefacing, hey, come January 1 of next year, it's on this property tax reform stuff, and you, our audience, are going to be the drivers on this. You got to flood the phones. You got to shut down the phones. You got to flood the emails. You got to show up to the State House. We'll try to get that more and more organized once we get closer to that. But there is a real excitement for something different out there. But so many of these politicians feel invincible and until they're proven otherwise.
Yeah.
They're not going to change. You have to change it for them.
Well, you know who was feeling invincible over the weekend and has a real passion for something? Not sure if it's running the city of Indianapolis, but he was feeling invincible is Mayor Joe Hogsett. He was, before this free show that was being put on by a comedian, he was out doing an introduction, encouraging everybody to register to vote. But while he was there, he was swaying and he was slurring, and he said he was running from things.
I want you all, look, I ain't on the ballot. I ain't running for nothing. I'm running from things, but I ain't running for nothing. But I want everybody here to make sure you get registered to vote at this election in November.
So the comment made people in the audience laugh and grin and, oh, that's hilarious. No, it's not. It's not funny when you watch what is happening to this great city in the great state of Indiana. And it's been 10 years of this guy. It's enough already. Keep it together.
You know what he reminded me of? There's a famous scene in the movie Hoosiers where Dennis Hopper plays the assistant coach on the basketball team, and he's got a serious drinking problem.
Shooter,
yes, thank you. And at one point in one of the games, Shooter shows up drunk and just randomly moseys out on stage or out on the floor and starts shouting at the ref, "Get that bozo with the glasses." And he's stumbling and pointing. And I mean, that's sort of what that sounded like. And it's scary because the guy, it's very Biden-esque in the sense of the guy is in charge of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the condition of this city since Joe Hogsett took over in 2016. Look at the things that have happened here. And I think most disturbing is look at the general lack of pushback. Look, where are the Democrats today demanding answers for what Joe Hogsett was doing over the weekend?
Oh, they don't care because they're the ones that have the power. So as long as they keep that, he can do whatever he wants.
You have a totally ineffective and cowardly Republican Party in Marion County. You have Democrats who simply don't care. And the only guy out there that's really pushing for some sort of answers or change is Jesse Brown, the socialist counselor here in Indianapolis. That's it. And that's really disappointing that that's none of our elected people here in this city really seem to care or demand answers, and look at the just totally inept, neutered response from the Republicans over this Thomas Carl Cook saga. I mean, it is just there is a one-party rule. The Republicans are totally worthless in the city, and the Democrats are petrified to take on Hogsett because they have seen how people who go against him, where they end up, and it's often in a political graveyard somewhere. And so thus you have this guy who is clearly unwell. But everybody's known this. Everybody's known that. I mean, the guy ends up with a major injury to what was his face, and they're like, "How'd you do that?" "Oh, taking out the garbage." Really? What, were you attacked by a raccoon? I mean, you disappeared during the riots. Where were you? It's in the report. No, it's not. No one knows where you were during the riots. We know you turned the city over to Thomas Carl Cook. We know he's the guy who let the city burn. But the media won't, up until now, just refuses to challenge Joe Hogsett. How does a mayor disappear without any viable answer about where he was? And nobody was like, dude, I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
I really hope that this was like a Biden debate moment. Because you remember, we all saw what was going on with Joe Biden. But until that debate against Trump, and it was out there forever, you could not ignore it anymore.
But the problem is, they're going to replace him with someone, and they're going to likely replace him with someone who has propped up Hogsett, which means they're not going to be any better. The Vop Ostley people of the world, who have been, in many ways, completely complicit and are trying to give him a pay raise. Think about this. The Democrats on the city county council have tried to give Joe Hogsett, knowing what he was, this is what they're trying to give more of your money to. When we hear about these laughable things about, well, if you do any cuts to local governments, then the police just won't exist anymore. Really? Well, the city found $30,000+ to give this inept buffoon, who may or may not have been drunk on stage, certainly sounded like he was inebriated and didn't always have his facts together. If that's not what he was, then at the very least he was making light of serious sexual harassment and assault allegations made by people against his former chief of staff and campaign manager. And I guess, what, you think that's funny? You think the Thomas Carl Cook stuff is funny? I mean, I don't know what's worse, if he was actually messed up on stage or he thinks the Thomas Carl Cook stuff is worth making jokes over.
It makes you wonder, what was he like when he was having his meetings and negotiations with the MLS?
Right.
You know, did he sound like that? Of course they're going to walk away from that. And you talk about how his defense is, oh, he was just joking. Lauren Roberts, who is one of the women who accused his aide of the sexual assault and harassment, said, if you have to explain why a joke is funny, it's not funny.
You know, it's interesting. On Friday, we had that great segment with Kevin Wilson, who
traveling all over the state,
trying to talk to every person in every person in every town in the state of Indiana. And he, for years, worked downtown. And you know, when I met him outside the building before he came in, we were talking about, he goes, this is basically unrecognizable down here. I mean, this is a person who worked for years downtown, hasn't been downtown in many years because his job no longer requires him to be here. And he's looking around going, this is unrecognizable. Indianapolis has a lot of nice things about it. The convention business is wonderful. The sports industry is wonderful. But the day-to-day nuts and bolts operation of the city, which is how you actually sustain a city, it's how you grow a city, it's how people stay in a city, is horrific. I mean, go look at it. Pick whatever morning you want at 8 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. and you go walk around that circle and you tell me what you see. Go observe the circle or the greater downtown area throughout the course of the day, and the panhandlers and the homeless people and the drugged out zombie people. And Joe Hogsett thinks that's fine. They don't do anything. He is a horrific mayor. He has done immense harm to the city of Indianapolis, and it's going to take. Well, it probably never will recover because there's never going to be another Republican elected again because all the Republicans have left.
Public safety, infrastructure, those are two big things. Friday, when we got off the air and I went on the balcony just to look down at the circle, there was a homeless man sleeping out there. And I live in Indianapolis. This affects me directly.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of it every single time I drive into work down Washington and hit every pothole on the way in. And every night when we play gunshot or firework, and let me tell you, they're not fireworks right now. But quite frankly, how did my neighbors vote for this guy? Like, what are they doing? Because they're the ones who put him there, kept him there. Even after all of these allegations, they were out there in 2017, and here we go. There's 6 more ongoing probes into other claims.
Yeah, but you're hitting on an interesting point, which is let's extrapolate this out to the presidential election, which is, and we've heard this for a while, that society and our elections are now largely turnout-based in the sense of pretty much everybody's kind of made up their mind. There are some independent thinkers still out there, but not many. Look at once Kamala Harris got in the race, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. got out because he was back to what, 3 to 5%, right? I mean, most people are now wed to, for whatever reason, one of these political parties. They both suck in their own rights. They both have let people down in their own rights. But we have so ingrained in people that you have to vote for one of these two groups. And it doesn't matter how inept your guy is. It doesn't matter how corrupt your guy is. It doesn't now matter how much allegedly drunk your guy is. It just simply matters the letter next to their name. And like I said, the Republicans have left. So if you extrapolate that out to the presidential election, you realize it largely becomes who can turn the most people out, Trump or Harris.
Well, in regards to Joe Hogsett, we're seeing a guy who's realizing there will never be a statue with his likeness.
Yeah, and the Ballard, I see people in the chat talking about Greg Ballard. That is never happening again. There's not enough Republicans left. Indianapolis was like 55-45, maybe 57 or 53-47 when Ballard won. You had to win some Democrats. You had to win all the independents. But you could. There was a math by which you could thread a needle and become mayor of the city. And Greg Ballard did it. Now, he did it on the backs of a major issue, which was property taxes. He did it on the backs of people being very upset at Peterson for something he largely didn't have a whole lot really to do with. But the reality is that's all those Republican people who made it it's 60-40. I mean, Shreve was a horrible candidate, but he still had infinite money, and he spent most of his infinite money trying to get Democrats to vote for him, which we laughed at and said that's never going to happen. But all that money didn't do him any good. He basically did the same as Carrasco did in the prosecutor's race. So if that's the layout and it's all turnout election now, We're done here. You're never going to have Republicans elected, and the GOP has done this to itself, and it'll be one corrupt, inept Democrat after another.
Well, I'm curious as to where the deputy mayors are on this, and I say that plural because there's, half a dozen of them, Dan Parker, Lena Hill. What do they have to say about this?
They're going to say nothing because the people
because they want to stay where they're at.
Well, right. The people are always gunning for the next thing. And I've heard a theory on this from somebody who is in the know, and this person told me, they said it has been well known by many people with the ability to do something about Hogsett for many, many years, especially in his own party, but they refuse to do so because they believe taking Hogsett down and telling the truth about just how horrible Hogsett's personal existence is and how it has seeped into his job as mayor will do irreparable harm to the city in terms of trying to attract things and people to be here. So these people who actually kind of are pro-city of Indiana, I know this sounds ridiculous what I'm telling you, but to these people it's like, well, I'm a Democrat and I love this city and I don't want to see the city harmed. And this, if you take this guy down, I know you're like looking at me like I can't believe you're saying
what? It's going to get worse?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying it's a right justification. I'm not saying it's a correct one. I'm simply telling you that there's a lot of people who have known what he is, but they believe it's so bad that if the truth came out about him and what he's done, that you won't get these conventions, you won't get these events. And this person told me this too, and I know we got to get to a break. And I thought this was interesting. We were talking about, because this person lives in Indianapolis, and we were talking about why people have kept voting for Hogsett and for these Democrats. And he said, you have to understand that we are comparing this to the existences where we live in the suburbs. So like we look at what's going on in Indianapolis and we see it and go, we see the high level stuff, right? Like we see what goes on Monument Circle. We read about the things in the paper or on the news and we report on them. But he said to a lot of people, their daily existence is like confined to their neighborhood. And a lot of these neighborhoods still kind of do okay. And if that neighborhood is all you've ever known, and there's festivals and there's fairs and there's conventions. And so if you've desensitized people to the violence and the violence isn't actually hitting you, of course, we look at it and go, this is simply unbelievable. I can't.
You know what? The violence is hitting me because let me just tell you a little story about this. I believe it was Friday night and I had wanted something to eat and we were out of crackers and believe it or not, crackers.
Yes.
And Jim said, you know what, I'll run down to the neighborhood Kroger really quick. And I said, no, you're not. Because normally we go out to Avon or Plainfield to do the grocery shopping.
Right.
And he said, I'll just run over to the Kroger, a couple blocks away. And I said, no, you're not. There were just gunshots reported there last night. My Kroger, where I could go grocery shopping. So instead, I did without for my own safety.
One other thing this person said, and I think it's interesting, is criminals are aware of who's tough on crime and who's not. And what this person told me was that there is a lot of low-level crime that takes place in the city of Indianapolis that is done by people not from Indianapolis because they simply know they'll get away with it.
Right.
People from Hendricks County or Johnson County or Hamilton County know they can come here and they can steal and they can do these. Look, they don't even go after violent offenders a lot of the time, but they can do these non-violent offenses, and the odds of them ever getting caught, because they're going to steal the stuff, they're going to take it, they're going to leave the county, and they're going to fence it, right? So the odds of them getting caught, and then even they do get caught, the odds of Ryan Mears and the criminal justice system doing anything is next to zero, and they know that. So a lot of the crime, this person was pointing out, that happens in Indianapolis is people coming from other counties because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
In Detroit, Kamala rolls out this bizarre accent.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave.
I would love it if that's how she talked in meetings. Kamala Harris goes up there sounding like Foghorn Leghorn. I'll say, somebody better turn the Fox News off the television.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg. This is your premier gun store. Premier Arms has the experience and know-how to help the new gun buyer and the most experienced marksman. They've been in business for over 20 years and have a friendly, knowledgeable staff that wants to help you, not talk down to you. Premier Arms in Brownsburg is family-friendly, so bring the kids. All ages are welcome. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Online at premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. premierarms.com.
Guys, we're notorious for putting things off. But when it comes to plumbing problems, you don't have to live that way. If you're tired of taking showers with low water pressure or not enough hot water, you've got to stop putting it off and call Lance and the local team at LD Smith Plumbing and ask about water heater specials. These are the guys I trust in my house and in my friends' houses and my relatives' houses, and they're the licensed plumbers you want in your house too. LDSmithPlumbing.com. That's LDSmithPlumbing.com.
World-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
To celebrate, be employee-owned, Be's offering employee pricing 60% off, plus 18 months, no interest, no payment.
Proud to be employee-owned. Trust me.
We received a letter from our friend.
Uh-oh.
You remember our friend who's in the penitentiary.
He was in, it's the Kendall Casey show, by the way. My name's Rob. That's Casey. So we have an avid listener. He was in the Plainfield Correctional Facility, and then I think he got transferred to Newcastle. Is that right?
Yeah, this one's postmarked Indianapolis. I ripped it. Let me see. Oh, Wabash Valley Correctional Facility.
Wabash Valley. Okay, very good.
Okay.
So, James, is that his name?
It is.
Yeah, so James is a very avid listener. And look, you can chuckle at it all you want. I think the guy has some interesting insights. He clearly lives in a world we're not very familiar with. And he's often told us about the life that he lives in there and his desire to get out and do better, and the people that he is around in there. And I find the guy's letters fascinating. Now, he's much more into you than he is me. He's a bigger Casey fan than a Rob fan. Not sure why that is, but I do find his correspondence very interesting.
He went on a riff about Kamala Harris and said, she says her campaign slogan is time for change. Now, of course, she copied that from Barack Obama. His slogan was change, too. And then he talks about the border, and then he talks about the economy. But this one part, he did mention that he is going to be getting released in 4.5 months.
He's getting out soon.
He's getting out. He said, P.S. 4.5 months, I go home. Yeehaw. But he said, I just want a job or two, work 6 days a week, and be peaceful and happy, and eat tons of good food, and enjoy many women. Oh, I have missed the women and food.
Well, there you go.
He said he doesn't wish anyone to ever have to eat the pathetic food that he has to. And he says that my voice is like sweet, sweet music to his ears.
You know, it's interesting you talked about the food, because I did that party. I bartended that party last weekend.
Yeah.
And the guy who hosted it teaches at the Plainfield Correctional Facility.
Okay.
And he teaches, life skills and trades and et cetera for these people who are incarcerated there. And, one of the things that I think we as a society have failed at, and I'm not saying there's an easy answer to this, but I don't think we've done a great job of preparing people to re-enter the world by which they have a fighting chance to not go back to the life that put them in, what is it called? The revolving door, turnstile, right, type of thing. And I don't think that we do a great job in terms of allocation of resources to try to get people ready. Because let's face it, it's hard to get hired as a convicted felon. It is. Like, you put that on your resume and you're, already starting 30 yards behind everybody else. And even if you may want to change, you may want to readapt into society, you may want to make a difference, it's hard. And then if you don't get hired, then what do you do, right? You got to eat, you got to live, and these people go back to the lives they had before. And so I think one of the challenges going forward as part of any criminal reform is getting people who want to. There's some people who don't. There's some people who are totally comfortable being lifelong institutionalists, and you're just not gonna reach those people because they're, guys like Charlie Manson were foreign to not being institutionalized. They said it publicly. I'm comfortable being here way more than on the outside. But there are a lot of people who I think genuinely would change, could change. They need a very strict oversight and they need very strict guidance. But I think people like James, hopefully you can have a productive, happy existence once you get out of incarceration.
He says all he wants is a job or two, realizing it may require 2 jobs, but he just wants to be peaceful and happy. He said that on his way home, he wants to stop and get 2 big grease-dripping Burger King Whoppers. Does he know that's going to cost him $20?
Well, okay, so this was, I told you, I don't know if you'd started watching this Tulsa King.
The show that you were talking about?
Yeah, so it's been on for a season. I think the second season's getting ready to begin, and most people are like, of course, everybody's heard of Tulsa King. But we always have to assume Casey had not.
No.
Sylvester Stallone, so weird, because this was a mega hit on Paramount, that Sylvester Stallone and Kevin Costner were arguably the 2 biggest TV stars in the world recently. And if you'd have stopped somebody in, say, 1992 and been like, the 2 biggest television stars will be Sylvester Stallone and Kevin Costner. But he plays this mafia guy who gets out. He's been in prison for 25 years, gets out, and the mafia sends him, basically they put him in exile, into Tulsa to set up an operation. Well, you realize very quickly the way these guys' minds work is some of them are really brilliant people. And he's fully capable of making money. Now, he does it in an incredible illegal fashion, and he's able to very quickly build up his own little mafia empire in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But you realize there are a lot of very smart people or intelligent people or people capable of being intelligent who are incarcerated, who if you could just get them to use their powers for good, they're capable of running businesses. They're capable of starting businesses. They're capable of being great workers at businesses. You just got to figure out a way to harness that energy for good.
For good, right,
instead of the negative.
Exactly, and not fall back into the same trap. So he said that he missed women. Well, here's a warning for you, James, because this new study came out, and this was published in the New York Post. A surprising, unexpected sign that a woman is a psychopath. Any idea what it is? We've talked about different warning signs before. This is a new one to add to the list.
Oh, no.
Her lack of makeup.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they say specifically blush or
no kidding.
Rouge.
Basically, so if you're not putting effort in, you're a psychopath.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. No kidding. You got a high level of narcissism.
Well, it's funny. We had this conversation on Friday because I've been into that Scott Peterson documentary on Netflix, which, by the way,
Aphrodite Jones is going to join us on True Crime Tuesday to talk about that.
Yeah, because she's in that documentary. And I told you, it was like I remember when I was, what would I have been in 2002? 18. I remember seeing Amber Fry, which was his mistress, because obviously that once the Peterson murder happened and whatever, that it was just everybody was obsessed with that case, and seeing her in real time being like, oh man, she's well assembled, right? And then you see these videos now, these old videos, and you're like, why did I think she was so attractive? And then you realize, I don't know if women are actually more attractive. They're just filtered and grammed and whatever. Like if you see people out in society, they don't look the way they look on the internet. So maybe women still aren't all that attractive.
Oh no, they are. But you just want to beware of the one, I guess, who's not wearing blush, because that's a sign of a psychopath.
Do they say why? Like, what about blush is a no?
They don't feel they need it. They're beautiful without it.
They're too good looking.
Yeah, I don't need that enhancement.
Have you ever met as an adult like a naturally beautiful person to the point where as a woman, you're like, you don't need any makeup?
Yes.
Really?
My daughter.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very good.
Yeah.
But it is fascinating. Like Pam Anderson has gone.
She doesn't wear makeup at all anymore. Yeah.
And you want to talk about remember the Seinfeld episode where the woman looked really good in light, but then in the shadows she was like horrible to the point where Kramer doesn't even believe it's the same.
The Two-Face.
Yes, Two-Face. Yeah. I mean, the Pam Anderson stuff. Now she's of course getting a little older, but it is striking to see her without makeup on.
Yeah, and you know who else is beautiful and doesn't need makeup?
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Right.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey.
Absolutely. Good call, Casey.
It's 93 WIBC. I got you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Looking for a man in the woods. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Trying to find a shooter on the loose in the foothills of Kentucky. Fox's Jeff Manasso.
Kentucky State Police are now leading the search for 32-year-old Joseph Couch, looking through thick and hilly terrain along I-75 near London, Kentucky, where he allegedly opened fire Saturday. From a wooded area, striking 12 vehicles and hurting 5 people. The focus right now, an area along I-75 near exit 49. Several area schools in eastern Kentucky have also been shut down. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Congress is returning today after a 6-week recess as a possible government shutdown is hanging over their heads. Current funding for the government runs out September 30th. A stopgap bill will likely be needed to avoid a shutdown. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Close your eyes and picture it. The warm sun on your face. The sound of waves lapping against the shore. What if I told you that feeling of summer relaxation could be yours all year round? At Howard Bailey Financial, we specialize in retirement planning that lets you embrace that summer state of mind every day. Imagine knowing that your future is secure. With our expert advisors, we'll craft a personalized retirement plan tailored to your dreams. Whether it's traveling the world or pursuing your passions, we'll ensure that your retirement is as carefree and fulfilling as a relaxing summer afternoon. Embrace a summer state of mind and text SUMMER to 888-494-5004 to download our complimentary retirement toolkit and experience your retirement planning with confidence.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TSY.
Good day, my friends out in listener land. It is Rob for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. And man, what a deal Universal Windows Direct has got going on right now. Call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. And for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. There is no limit. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. Oh, and on top of that, 0% financing for 36 months. Now, some restrictions apply, so to get all the information, you got to call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574. When you call Universal Windows Direct, make sure to say Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call. They'll take $250 off your project just because they can. And Universal Windows Direct backs their work up with a true lifetime warranty. That's for as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. 317-659-7574. Check them out on the web, uwd.com, uwd.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
After college, Mike Braun could have gone anywhere. He chose to move back to his hometown of Jasper, Indiana. There, he started a small business, kept his head down, worked hard, and turned his small business into a national company, employing thousands of Hoosiers. He'll use that same determination for us. Lead the charge on lowering the price of gas, groceries, energy. Take on the big healthcare companies to increase healthcare access and lower costs. And Mike will improve education across our state by increasing school choice. Mike will make our streets safer, back the blue, and stop illegal immigration if the federal government won't. Because Braun believes every Hoosier should be safe and secure in their community. As governor, Braun will continue working for Hoosiers. Because when you're Mike, working hard is just what you do. Mike Braun, governor. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Well, Cody was 24 years old, and he had a big sense of humor. Always liked to make people laugh.
Dennis DeMoss of Reith Riley Construction's son Cody was killed May 9th, 2014 while working in the Cone Zone.
Well, it was a normal day. Get dressed, drink coffee, and my phone rang. It was about 5:30. It was one of the workers on the road, Cody's been in an accident. He didn't make it. Someone come through the construction zone and hit 2 of our guys. I hung the phone up. My wife's standing right beside me, and our daughter, she was standing there. The hardest part was to tell them right then that our son just was dead. All of our people that's out there, they are moms and dads and brothers and sisters, and we want to go home too. We're not out there to inconvenience people. We're trying to make it better for everybody. Give us some space, let us do our work, and we'll be out of your way and move on.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals.
J&V save 30% off herbaceous perennials, 50% off pottery, and 20% off patio furniture this week at Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Casey, you better be careful.
Why?
Syphilis is at an all-time high.
I know. I saw that report from NBC News. It's at the highest level since the 1950s.
That's a lot. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was going on in the 50s?
Well,
I mean...
unprotected sex?
Yeah, but there were a lot fewer people in the country and a lot fewer stupid people in this country.
Yeah, but this is also coming from the CDC, so I think you have to question it, right?
You do wonder, do people not know how it works? You know.
What, syphilis?
Well, getting the thing.
Or sexually transmitted infections.
You know the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So they said in the year 2022, there were an additional 200,000 syphilis cases.
How many?
An additional 200,000.
An additional? Additional to what?
It's additional from the previous years.
Oh.
It has increased tenfold over the past decade.
Right. Yeah, that's, I mean, are we not teaching the people how the things happen, or they just not care?
I think maybe they don't care. They're risking it.
Yeah.
They know. And
I think it could not happen to me.
Yeah. I mean, is that something, how you vet people now? Can I see your medical records, please?
Well, I told you, I had a pretty strong theory that worked for me for many years.
Yeah.
And it was I actually stole it off, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing.
Yeah.
Well, I had a vetting process by which I had to find 6 people that knew the person in question. Because I figure if you find 6 people, somebody, if there is dirt, is going to squeal that dirt, right?
Yeah.
So if you can make it through 6 people saying they're an upstanding citizen, then you're probably in the clear.
You're okay.
Right.
According to this article, it is due to the rise of sex workers as well.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That could be a thing as well. So anyway, I just want to tell you, be very careful.
Okay.
And,
Thanks for the heads up, Rob.
Keep your guard up at all times.
So let's talk about our little event we had on Saturday.
That's right. You were on a boat.
You were on a boat.
That's right. We were on a boat together.
Yeah, it was cold on that boat.
They didn't throw us over. You know what's wild is how the temperature changes based on which way you're going in the boat.
Your direction into the wind.
Right.
And the spray coming up.
Oh, totally.
I'm surprised you didn't stand up on the bow and say, I'm king of the world.
I didn't think they had a bow, did they?
Well, the front of the boat,
yeah.
right?
I mean, this was not like a super yacht. This is not a Joe Manchin boat or something.
No, but it was still very nice.
It was very nice.
And Rachel and Rick were very hospitable. And let me just tell everybody how this went down.
Oh.
Friday, as we're finishing up the show here, Rob looks at me and says, what are you doing this weekend? I said, I don't know. I thought maybe about going to visit my mom. And he said, oh, well, if you don't do that, you want to come hang out. Gabrielle and I are going to go to our friend's boat in Fishers and see how the other half live. And they said there's room for 1 more. And I said, oh, well, that's nice. Is there room for 2 more? And then you said, well, let me find out. And then, yeah, there's room for 2 more. And I said, okay. Well, send me the address.
Yeah.
And so you did. You texted me the address and said, be there at 11:45.
That's correct.
And then a little while later, you said, they want everybody there at 11:30.
That's correct.
And I said, okay. And little by little, over the next, 18 hours, you start leaking that you're actually making a appearance at a political event.
That's
and
correct.
you're speaking.
That's right.
And then as the day proceeds on the boat, you say to me, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? What are you doing? We both have to get up there and talk.
We're a team.
I thought I was going on a boat
Right.
to have some fun, relax, enjoy the sunshine. And then it turns out, oh, you're working. And you're roping me into this
Right.
as well.
Well, and as your husband caught on, I've done this to you numerous times now. So
Right,
at this
so-
point, you should just get the fact that you keep falling for it is
This
a
is
you
on
thing.
me.
It's a you thing.
Why
Your
don't I
husband said
learn this lesson?
Because we had to introduce Victoria Spartz, and I thought I'm just much better at telling society how much it sucks, and you're much better at telling society how good it can be.
Mm-hmm.
And so our little floor show that we did after the event was I got up and said, you people better wake the you-know-what up and engage beginning January of next year with this property tax thing, because simply voting for these Republicans, as they've proven, is not going to do it for you. So, I gave the rah-rah, and then I said, now here's Casey with some nice words about Victoria Spartz.
You totally did that to me. And this really is on me. I have to learn this lesson. I guess I thought you were just inviting me to be nice. You were inviting me because you wanted me to work.
Casey, at this point, and again, your husband and I had this conversation right in front of you, and he agrees. If you have not caught on
I know.
that I have an ulterior motive,
I know.
Then, but it's not.
It's on me. I mean, it was fine, and it was fun, and it was a great day.
I'm not asking you to do surgery of some sort. I'm simply saying you're a broadcaster. Just say 5 words.
And I did.
And you did fine.
And it was great.
And you had a great day.
But
so
you don't prep me, though. You don't tell me.
Because you won't come.
You don't know that.
Well, there's a chance you might not come.
Right. So
but I knew there was no chance you would not come if I just said, do you want to go on a boat ride?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you get this free boat ride and you got to talk for 2 minutes.
Right. No, it was fine.
Again, I wasn't putting you in some position where it was like, here's Ginny Ruby, and you didn't know it, and now you guys got to have it out over why she chose Herb Street chose her over you. I was like,
right.
It was not an uncomfortable position.
No, it was not uncomfortable at all. It was great. And everybody was really nice. And by the way, can we talk really quick about, I think her name was Rhonda. We met her.
Yeah.
And
love Rhonda.
She said that she had bought a new car, and it was the first new car she had purchased in 10 years. And when she first got in the car, she couldn't figure out how to work the radio. And the radio was set to 93 WIBC.
Yeah.
And she couldn't figure out how to turn it off. So she started listening. And now she listens all the time.
She loves us.
Yeah.
She's our fan. Rhonda is our fan. She was very, very nice, and it was very nice to meet. She's wonderful out in public. Although, I got to say, there was one politician who was working the room
and
or the
acted
floor.
like our table did not exist.
I mean, she did a U, and it was like, you're one of those. This is a statewide office holder, and what a frickin' coward to be.
We were like the plague.
Yeah, this
according
woman.
to her.
This woman was. I'm narrowing it down for people. I said this woman and statewide office holder, and so that really should narrow it down for you. And she gets right to our. And I told Casey when she was working in the room, I said, I guarantee you, she will act as though this table does not exist. And I'll be darned, Casey.
That's exactly what happened.
I mean, here's the thing: if I were a politician and somebody said the things about this person that I've said, I would engage them in front of everyone. Say it to my face. Come on.
And
they always wimp out.
No, she wanted nothing to do with us.
That's one thing I'll say about Spartz. I got to give Spartz a lot of credit.
Yeah.
She came right up and she was engaging.
She was. Oh, she was. She came right up to you, too.
I got respect for that.
Yeah.
She was not running away.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about this. Here's my phone number. Call me. And I was like, I got some respect for this. I like this.
And the best part is I noticed that, and I looked at your wife, and I said, you want to go or you want me to go? And your wife said, I'll go. I'll go make sure he doesn't get himself into any trouble. But also to the point about Joe Hogsett, you and I were both offered alcoholic beverages before we spoke in public, and we both said no.
Yeah, we had 17 afterwards, but we'd already spoken in public.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz Day, the polling data shows us what we already knew. Kamala Harris has an uphill battle ahead of her. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Pat Sullivan here for Michaelis. They're a locally owned and operated family business serving central Indiana for over 39 years. I'm here with owner Richard Michaelis, who has seen it all when it comes to water, storms, fire, and mold damage.
Thanks, Pat. That's right. When that damage arises, we will respond to you, the customer, 24/7, 365. Our professionals are IICRC certified, and we will restore your business or home to pre-loss condition or better.
I know when we had the fire at our home, Michaelis was on the scene before the firefighters left. With Michaelis' help, we were back in our home, and it was just like it had been, if not better.
We pride ourselves on being empathetic with our customers and doing an excellent job to put things back together as if nothing happened. And that includes working through the insurance process on behalf of the customer.
Water storms, fire, or mold, life happens, and Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 877 service today.
Guys, if you're middle-aged and wonder why it seems harder to keep up, it may be low T. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Not just any TRT, not websites offering basic treatments and prices that sound too good to be true. See the provider specialists at Low T Center.
They offer advanced, personalized treatments with over a decade of experience. Start with a simple test and get results in about 25 minutes. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Can you hear me?
So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Rob, did you hear about the huge payout that is expected for this rare coin that was brought from this Ohio farm?
No, tell me more.
Okay, so there's this family. They've got this coin, and they inherited it. It's a dime.
Like a real dime.
A real dime. And it was from the U.S. Mint in San Francisco, and it was minted in 1975.
Uh-huh.
And the unique thing about this coin is that it's missing the S, which is the mint mark saying that it was minted in San Francisco in 1975. Now, authorities knew about this dime. They knew that there were a couple of them out there. In fact, one was sold at auction for nearly $500,000. But they knew this other one existed, but they never knew where it was until this past weekend.
Okay, so this is interesting because I know nothing about coins.
Neither do I.
And do you ever look at a coin when you get it and think, I wonder if, like, there's always some sort of printing imperfection, and then you get on Google and you're Googling whatever your printing imperfection is, and then you're trying to see, oh, that's worth a quarter, just like the other quarters are worth a quarter. But,
or this one's worth 38 cents.
Yeah, I don't understand anything about the coins, about how they decide what's worth something and what's not. And I long have pondered, what if I had some super valuable coin?
Would you even know?
No idea.
Yeah, absolutely not. Well, these sisters, they're three sisters, and their brother recently passed away. And before he passed away, he had been holding on to the dime in a safe, and he kept the secret for years.
Yeah.
And he finally said, hey, you know what? This is worth a lot of money. It's now yours to do with whatever you want. And the last one that sold in 2019 sold at auction for $456,000.
Wow. What year?
In 2019,
so
it was
sold. Pre-inflation.
Correct. But they've known about this. It's kind of been like this family secret, and now they actually have the dime. They have the information about the dime. they're keeping themselves anonymous. However, they're kind of looking to maybe cash in on this dime. And I, like you, I have some collectible money that my father-in-law gave me years ago. And I'm like, is this worth anything? But here's the thing now. There's an app that you can get on your that once and sat there for a good hour just scanning dimes and pennies and quarters and nickels to see. There were a couple that maybe were worth 5 or 10 cents more than the actual value of the coin, but not $500,000.
You know, there was a Kennedy $50 that for years was worth way more than the regular $50 because it had actual silver in it.
Oh, right.
And as a kid, I remember my grandmother telling me that she bought in, the 80s or whatever, 70s, an entire bedroom suite just based on, I think it was 64 was the ones with actual silver in them, just based on, I mean, they were put into circulation like regular money, but they had greater amount of silver in them, I think was what it was. And she took those and whatever they were worth, $10 a piece or became worth $10. And she bought an entire bedroom suite with it.
Wow. Now, is the bedroom suite still around? Because, they used to make furniture a lot better than they do now.
Oh, yeah. It's still
it's like heirloom furniture.
My grandmother is no longer still with us, but that bed and that bedroom suite still does exist. Yeah.
It is still around.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. That's the fun thing about furniture is, the older furniture, it was made with the dovetail drawers and it was just real wood. Now it's just all that plywood and fake stuff.
Oh, totally. Like I don't even have a frame or anything around my bed at home. Like I just have a bed.
Yeah.
And I don't know
on the floor.
I don't think I've ever had. Yeah.
A mattress.
Yeah.
On the floor.
I don't think I've ever a fabulous mattress from Thompson Furniture, a great sponsor here at WIBC. But I don't know anything about coins. I have long thought, when I would look at money that there's some imperfection. Maybe it was worth $1 million. It is not. And thus, I'm still here with you.
Yeah, with your bed on the floor. Okay, so this coin, it's known as the 1975 No S proof dime.
Oh.
And it's going to be displayed at this coin show, which is coming up. It's going to be in Tampa, but it's going to be displayed through October. And then they have an auction at the very end of it. And, of course, this family from Ohio with their rare dime hoping to cash in. Now, here's the thing. If you had a dime like that and you knew it was of value, would you continue to hold on to it?
Oh, no.
Or would you be like, nope, I'm all in. Give me the money.
Oh, no. No, you gotta sell and monetize that.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. You hear this all the time about these great finds that people have. Like, your husband's into sports cards. There was recently this Wilt Chamberlain one. 6162, that was found in the back of a grocery store somewhere, and it was in a cabinet, and it was in mint condition, perfect, because it had never seen the light of day.
Right.
Got graded as a 10, sold for $1.7 million.
Yeah.
It's like these things are they're still out there. It's amazing to me that these things, these little treasures, still exist. And I always love reading about them. I think it's fascinating.
Why can't we be so lucky?
Well, we don't own anything.
To find something like that. Now, I've recently looked up, like, Fort Knox is a mint, a U.S. mint.
Right, have you pondered sneaking in?
Well,
stealing the gold?
That's pretty secure.
Is there gold in Fort Knox?
Oh, I believe there's a lot of gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And I think you can take a small tour, but it has to be planned. You have to have an appointment. You got to go through all sorts of security.
Right.
And the tour, I believe, consists of like one small little room.
Has anybody actually ever seen the gold in Fort Knox? Or is it like National Treasure type of thing where there's a legend of gold in Fort Knox and it doesn't actually exist?
I think there probably are some people with some sort of clearance that have seen the gold, that are protecting the gold, but you and I, not those people.
Yeah. Have you? Do you own gold? Have you ever bought gold? Have you ever owned a gold bar or anything like that?
Not a gold bar. One silver coin. And like I said, at one point my father-in-law gave us some coins. I'll have to get those out and see what they're worth.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, they're in the plastic case.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
sure.
So that to me says they're worth more than the one that's just, in my purse.
Well, one of the things that COVID did was it brought things back things that had seemingly had no value before or whatever. It had added, like, for whatever reason, they became collected or they became a thing, and then people started paying premium prices for them. So you never know. I mean, the thing that is, like, stupid to me are, like, this video game is in the package.
Right. The VHS tape.
The VHS, yeah, that's another one, right? Like, what person, I mean, no one even has, we were having this conversation on Saturday.
Yeah.
What person even has a VHS
player
anymore.
Right.
But yet some video in the package.
It's in the original package.
Yeah.
That makes it worth so much money. This is 40 years old. You know what else is 40 years old?
Me.
Yes, exactly. Us.
Me.
Not in the original package, though.
All right. Time to go home.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. This is Kendall and Kate.